Come, let me get you some.
Yo, welcome to Saber Talk Sunday.
Everyone,
James
what's up,
Mountain
guys?
Sabers in the house. Lord Barris is in the house. Darth Barris.
Thank you.
How are you guys doing this weekend, man?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Passover for me, so yesterday and today has been a bunch of eating and a bunch of fun times with the family.
Oh yeah. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. That's why I was running a little late, man. I was just telling you guys a while ago that I had just pulled everything off the barbecue pit, man. I didn't even have one of these yet. So I'm like, damn, I'm way behind, dude. I'm way behind. But tonight we're gonna have a lot of fun with tonight's conversation, man.
Mhm.
Wants and needs. What do you guys want or need in a saber? Hopefully we'll see what happens. I invited John from Collectors Outpost to come on, so maybe if he has time, we'll see if he comes on.
That would be nice.
And that's gonna be a lot of fun right there, man. So what is this? Let me see. Dee, 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 dee. Oh my God, are you guys there? Something is
Yeah.
going wonky here.
I mean, we might lose you
For
again.
some reason, it's got a little link thing here going, and I'm not sure what's share
Oh,
your referral
well,
link. And I'm all like,
Your
wait a
video,
minute.
your video stopped. So.
Okay. Oh, daughter's out of work already. That's cool. Hey, are you guys there? Okay. Can you all
I
hear me?
am, but your video stopped.
Oh my goodness.
mm.
You could try and come in and come out again. I think that's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I think that's going to be it. Well, until he comes back, let's.
James, can you hear me?
I can hear you. There you are.
Okay, you're
Yep.
back.
Okay. Okay, great.
A little delayed.
Yeah, for some reason, I'm not sure what's going on. Yeah. A little delayed?
Yeah, were you on Wi-Fi?
Okay. Oh, hold on. Well, no, actually, yeah, I was on Wi-Fi, so I took the Wi-Fi off. Let
Oh,
me see.
well, that's all. There we go. Wants and needs. We want the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. Well, until he gets back on, let's get started with at least the prompts. So, wants and needs. What do you think? What do you want when it comes to having something in your lightsaber, James?
Well, for one thing, I know I would always want a crystal chamber. I mean, it's all part of it. You know, it's the thing that makes it run. It's the thing that makes it happen. You know, I mean, it's a very special part of the lightsaber. So I think most important, I always try and go for something with a crystal chamber. And if I can fit it in like any of my builds or designs or chassis, I'll definitely try to accomplish it.
So
that's really important.
Sorry, do you have a preference as to like how sophisticated or how well designed you want the crystal chamber to be? Do you want to have brass accents? Do you want it to be like a master chassis? Do you want it to be spinning? What do you want it rigged up with the color of the blade, or do you want to have it as its own separate plug-in? Sorry, I don't know
great questions
yet.
Oh no, all great questions, and yeah, probably I want to try and approach all those details. Have the brass, have the spinning, have things like that. I actually tried to I enhanced my proto saber with a faster motor because the slower motors got a little noisy, so I didn't really want all that and you hear it all day long. It's terrible. So I went with a fast motor, and man, it doesn't oscillate, it doesn't do anything. It just speed, and it sounds great. So it really depends on the hilt, it depends on the use. It depends on things but if I was doing something with a costume design or something, I think I would just go all brass. I would like to go all brass chassis.
Yeah. Oh, Ulysses says the Martin Bayer Graflex. Definitely. Yeah. I actually saw today that Corbanth released their what's inside the box of their their MPP 3.0, and
Yeah.
the brass chassis that they have for it is just, it's just beautiful. Like,
Oh yeah.
oh my gosh.
So what would you want? What's your wants and needs? What do you like?
Well, right now I'm on a binge of character sabers, trying to collect as many character sabers as I can. Well, after the 3 that I've gotten over the last month, most of them will be with will get to me this week. I'm going to take a break from it, but I would say when it comes to character sabers, having them being very good sound, like loud, being sure that the volume is not only good enough for the space that you're in, like in a small apartment space, but also loud enough in convention areas.
Yeah. I think sound is pretty important. That's a really good want and a good need. Because we all love sabers, we all want to hear them. And I think it's a great point. Let's see. What else could we describe for a want and a need? Style, maybe style of chassis, like simple against hard or simple against complex. How maybe it's
I mean,
want or a need.
I mean, when it comes to chassis, for me, I don't have a particular preference. If it works, it works.
Okay.
As far as like ornate designs, I think that's sort of like a want. It's definitely a want or over a need. And I mean, like we said, with the crystal chambers, it's an add-on. It's really not something you really need unless you're going to actually like show it off. Like, I mean, if you had, like, for example, an MB Sabers Graflex and you were going to meet Roger Christian, like, that'd be something you'd want to show off. I mean, although don't want to, to shore up the guy who basically made the Excalibur of science fiction weapons.
Right. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, you definitely want to have something nice signed and have that on display for sure. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Mundo, I don't know what happened to Mundo. I hope he comes back, man. He had some good pointers, but I think he's having technical difficulty. Speaking of the devil.
All right. Yeah.
What happened, bud?
I'm back. Uh-oh. I don't know. My whole phone just crashed for some reason. Had to restart it and all over. Yeah, it is really wild, man. So to you guys out there in the chat, man, I am really sorry. I apologize for all these technical difficulties, man. And
we were keeping it going for you, brother.
Yes, I know I can count on you guys, man. Always. I know it. So let's see. Agreed. Crystal Chamber, Martin Bear, Graphics. I'm just trying to check and see what all I missed, man. I got that thing that says.
We were talking about our wants and needs, and basically, we were discussing our own personal wants and needs about chassis and sabers and crystal chambers and things like that. So those are pretty good wants and needs for certain aspects of the build or the lightsaber.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe they really are important because when you have specific needs, and Barris, I guess you can attest to this because you only need essentials for the lightsabers when you go fight, right? At those tournaments.
Well, I mean, when it comes to for all the lightsabers that I have, I would say the only one that would probably be suitable for dueling is probably my Darth Maul staff disconnected and with RGB cores, because look, pixel blades are pretty good nowadays, and I mean the leading fighter of the belt champion used a Xenopixel blade. Oh my gosh!
Wow. John made it.
Hey, I'm star stunned right now. Wow!
What's up, John?
What's going on?
I love the videos. Oh man, we're gonna have a fun conversation tonight, man. The needs and wants of lightsabers, bro.
Oh, geez.
That's crazy. So I'm telling you, it's going to be such a fun topic, man. Because and if anybody out there has been watching John for a long time and does the fantastic reviews and he keeps it real, and I'm glad you keep it real, dude, because
Try.
a lot of people that see these lightsabers that you review, um, they need to know what they're getting into for stuff as well, because it also determines exactly what they want the sabers, whether they want it for cons, whether they want it for dueling, whether they want it for shelf queens, or just whatever sabers, you know.
Yeah.
Um, Personally, what kind of chassis do you like in your lightsabers? Personally, do you like the static, the removable, or what suits your fancy?
Um, Chassis. I mean, there's a lot of nice ones. They have that new copper one that's coming out from was it Nexus?
Yeah, that
That
Hmm.
looks fantastic. I actually, I'm charging a couple right here, but like you had the little black ones from 89 Sabers.
hmm
Hmm.
The removable ones are nice. They're great. The crystal chambers are fantastic. It really just depends on the person you are and what you're looking for. Uh,
Hmm.
Personally, for my own needs, I don't care. I'm fine with uninstalled ones. I'm fine with resin ones that I've bought. I've gotten some from at Star's Ends. I've got like the Ahsoka. I've got the Darth Maul. It's just resin. You know,
Hmm.
I love those because I'm a displayer. I mean, like, you see everything behind me. It's just I love museum pieces. I like displays. I like
Me
stuff
too.
like that. Yeah, there you
I
go.
love that.
Yeah.
You got a nice
I'm,
collection, by
I'm
the way. Very cool, man.
thanks. I'm all into like the displays and the museum pieces, stuff like that. I mean, I love to show. See, there's a difference for me. There's what. Oh, 1 second. There's what I would call what I want to review for the show, and then there would be what I want to own. You know what I'm saying? Give me
Hmm.
1 sec. My wife is texting me.
Yeah, no worries, man.
no,
Take your
you're
time.
good, man.
Now, I find it kind of, it is very interesting too for collectors like John and I. I don't collect too much. What I do, what I've been collecting throughout the years was,
He
Uh-oh.
Oh,
froze.
did
Oh
we
my
lose
god.
him?
He's collecting minutes on his Wi-Fi. That don't
okay,
work,
Oh,
man. We gotta
okay.
get this
Am
thing
I back?
repaired.
oh,
All
there it
right,
goes.
you back, Mundo?
Oh my God,
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
if
Yeah,
I
I'm
get
back.
lost,
Uh,
if I get lost too, we just had, which is why it took me a minute to get on here. A
Yeah.
transformer in my town must have exploded.
Oh,
There
Oh
was
no.
a huge boom, and we lost power. So I had to wait
oh
for the power to
wow.
come on.
Wow.
So if I disappear, we lost power again.
It's same. Not that particular.
oh,
There it goes.
Uh-oh. Just
And
when we thought it was over.
the whole world is exploding.
ugh.
Okay, so I'm taking off my Wi-Fi completely right now. So
uh, it
hopefully
could
that
be.
solves the problem.
Yeah.
And just go to my data. Just go to my data. So I got
Yeah, but I
unlimited, so
mean,
I'm not worried about it.
as far as like
Um,
chassis for me, I love a lot of the new ones that are coming out, like the TXQ ones now, which I actually
mhm,
have one I think over here.
Yeah,
Um,
the new crystal the new crystal like ones.
yeah,
You
it's
want?
not even it's just LEDs. This one,
Mhm.
it has the
I mean, even if
that kind of gold
yeah, even
thing,
if
the
it's
gold
not,
plate
mhm.
there.
it still looks
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they're
great.
great.
It's fun to look at. It's not overly flashy. If I wanted to show somebody something, except I have no friends that come by, so it doesn't matter. Like everything I own is for me personally. You know what I mean? Anything that I was given to review on the show is just a blessing that I get to look at the stuff. If it
Yeah.
was just me, I mean, none of this stuff would matter for my uh personal purposes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like anything behind me, it's all just for me. I don't need flashy stuff, especially like you're taking chassis, like really high end crystal chassis, metal, brass, whatever you want them. What am I going to do with
Hmm.
that? Like where do I put that? I can't
Mm.
use it and look at it at the same time, because how do you use the lightsaber when it's in the chassis? You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
feel like you kind of need that thing where it's like you have the lightsaber on display, and then a chassis holder where you can kind of display
Yeah.
the chassis
Oh yeah,
as
yeah,
an art piece.
yeah.
Like for
Right.
me, that would be the purpose of something like that, is having a
That's how I
double
have my
layered stand.
Ahsokas. I
Oh,
have my
you have,
Ahsokas
okay,
just like that. Yep. The
right.
plates come off, so I show the
Yep,
chassis and I have them
there
on
you
the
go.
dual
See, something
stand.
like that.
Great.
I've seen there's a guy I follow in, God, I forgot where he is, but he makes that frame display, like the shadow box, and it's got like Luke, but
Yes.
it's cut in half.
Oh,
And you could see,
Oh yeah.
you could see, yeah, you know what I mean? You could see all of the moving
Yeah.
parts and everything, but it's in a shadow
That's
box,
really
so it's a
cool.
beautiful display. I love stuff like
Yeah.
that. That stuff's great.
Yeah. It's original.
And I get what you're saying
Yes.
because yeah, right. And I see what you're saying because from a collector standpoint, stuff like that you display, there's another level between displaying and using the sabers,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If I may, because like I said, for me, being a collector, and what I started saying, before it got wonky, was I'm a collector of, firearms, knives, rifles, swords. My father-in-law, um, he, my wife's dad, he collects a lot of old museum pieces and stuff as well. And I've gotten a few swords, replica swords from like Scottish broadswords to Napoleonic, sabers and stuff like that. So and then throughout the years, a lot of knives, daggers, collectible knives, the folding knives and stuff like that my dad has handed down to me through the years, uncles and everything. But as a collector standpoint, there's only so much that you want to do with your lightsabers, and
Right.
you can, and John, like you were saying, what are you gonna do if you have a chassis that's in the saber that you really can't, I mean, you can't use the saber when you're displaying it like that, right? And also at the same time, you do want to play around with it, swing it, but then you're not showing the chassis or
Right. But
anything
you know
like
what? But
that.
it's like some of those things. You got like those the Goth chassis. Aren't those like
Hmm.
about $1,000?
yeah, they are very expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
Very
mean,
good.
like, do you want to risk the idea of, let's say you spend $500 on a hilt, and then you have a $1,000 chassis made? Do you really want to risk the idea of smashing that chassis or breaking it, or you're hitting something too hard? Like, it's a delicate piece, and for me, if I was to have one of those, it's a display piece for me. Like, I would want a Vader like hilt, like let's say, but then I would have the
Hmm.
chassis like a Goth chassis displayed completely in front of it by itself.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to mess
Yeah.
it up,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're dueling or something
Yeah.
like that. I mean,
Yes.
Yeah. But
I
even
mean,
just swinging
it's
around for myself, like I wouldn't want that kind of a chassis in a like inside when I'm like just swinging around and being stupid on my own. You know what I mean?
John,
I
I
Yeah.
haven't
wouldn't want
seen
to
I
be
any
the
really
only one
lately
to
wouldn't.
do
that
it.
well, John,
I haven't
considering
seen any
all,
lately that have come out to actually show that if they were actually using those. I mean, I'm sure I'm hoping that they wouldn't. I mean, why would you want to
Oh, yeah.
bang around $3,000? Not my call,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all. Well, I mean, considering all the time that's put into making these chassis, I mean, it makes sense that with the labor costs and the
Yeah.
materials done, that such a commission would be that high. And I mean, these
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
these are works of art, it's
Absolutely.
like museum grade almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's
absolutely.
mostly for Comic-Con. I think it's mostly for show, for Canon, for show, and all that stuff. Everybody's just
Yeah.
you'll sit down at
I
the
don't know
table
about
at
you
lunch and
guys,
they'll take the chassis out and
but
everything, and show it then.
I don't know if I would take that $1,000 chassis with me to a Comic Con, man. Somebody
No,
bumps into you, or you got somebody that's wanting, you turn
Well,
your head for a second, and they're pulling it out of your bag. So,
right.
I personally would not take something like that to a con what I would take with me to a con is, this here with the plain Jane um chassis. Maybe it'll have a crystal chamber in it, but nothing too fancy, right? Maybe a 3D printed chassis. And because if it breaks or whatever, okay, I have somebody print me up a new chassis, wire it up and put it back in the thing.
Mm.
So, but in terms of having something that high end, and you need stuff like John has right here to display those pieces, of course, without the blade or on the wall with the blade, have you will, right? And because, hey, Dark Reese, what's up? Space Windows protege.
Yo,
He's in the house. So, again, taking something like that to a con, I don't know. I mean, I personally wouldn't. I personally wouldn't want to take that amount of money that I've spent, even because for me, I mean, saving money up is a big chore, right? So,
I don't know. I
uh,
probably would do it. You know why? Because I wouldn't want it to be on a shelf. What's the purpose? Nobody's going to see it on a shelf. You know what I mean? It's like I just feel that
It's a
it would
hard
be
call.
just
It's a hard call.
it's somebody's, it's their own call. If they want to
Yeah.
bring it,
Yeah,
let
yeah,
them
yeah.
bring it. I'm sure they've got it under control where they're not going to have it, dropped or theft or whatnot. But I just think that showing things is a lot better than just sitting on a shelf collecting dust.
So what we need, like you have
well,
all of those
yeah.
antique car shows and stuff like that, where you can go just kind of
Mhm.
walk up and down the aisles and all the
Yeah.
hoods are out. There needs to be a lightsaber show
I-
like that, where everybody can take their lightsabers and have the chassis out. You know what I mean?
That would be
Yeah.
there would be a lot of stands.
John, that's a perfect idea.
Ooh,
That's
that
a
would
perfect
be awesome.
idea.
Find the car show with the lightsabers.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
That'd
or
be
combined
great.
it in a Comic-Con event or something like that, where everybody, because
Right.
it's all about that. Everybody's
Just
showing
great
the other
art
stuff. What
pieces.
happened to the clients?
We'll
What
call it
happened to the
Saber.
people
We'll
who
call
are
it
enjoying
SaberCon.
There you
Call
go.
it SaberCon.
SaberCon.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
your job, Mundo.
I wish I could, man. I wish I could. But see, and again, and you don't have to have a lot of money, so to speak. If you can get some things. I mean, you like, Rob Petkow and a few others that they've shown. You go to the hardware store and build yourself one, right? Whether it be static or if you put electronics in it. Where there's a will, there's a way. I mean, you're gonna make it happen. And then who's that? I forgot the gentleman. From, I think he was from the Philippines. Alan Chong, I think it was. He made sabers out of PVC pipe, and I mean, he made some extraordinary stuff, man. I haven't seen him
Yeah.
in a long time, so I'm not sure what happened. Whether he got sick or just something happened where maybe he didn't want to do them anymore, or whatever have you will. But he made some pretty cool lightsabers that way, man, and he got pretty popular for a little while. And even those, I mean, just having those around. Again, I'm making a PVC pipe one myself, and it's nowhere to be found right this minute. but everybody's seen it on other shows, right? But again and again, over and over again, it depends on what your budget is, on what your needs and wants are for the sabers, whether you're wanting to collect, whether you're wanting to show off, whether you're wanting to do with it, or whether you want to have a little bit of both. Maybe some, you want to do, a fan made film, right? So, in consideration of any of those factors, depending on what your budget is going to determine what your needs and wants are. For me personally, I enjoy a crystal chamber because, more or less,
Or I need to step in there though too,
sabers,
because
you know,
one thing though, it's also a basis on what you can fit in. It's not always about the money. It's also about
yeah,
what you can fit in. So if you can't fit in a lot, well, there goes the money. The money's a lot less. if you get a bigger hilt like a Graflex or something chunky, you could do anything. You could do a whole bunch, and that considers to be more money. But you could still spend less money on a big
I
hilt
agree
as
with
well
that.
too. So it's like a full
Yeah.
circle of ideas and things that can happen. Just wanted to throw that in there as an
That's
installer
true.
because I've installed 1-inch 90.99s, and I've installed 3-inch hills, and everything has its priority in price.
And even like the Graflex, you can really do up that whole thing because
Yeah.
it's just a tube, But
It's
like I have
beautiful.
I have the 89 Sabers version. It's the battery as
me
its own
too.
kind of compartment, and then there's just like that little crystal chamber area. But I've also
Yep.
seen the whole thing where the whole thing is a whole chamber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can do multiple different things in one single hilt, which is
Absolutely.
great.
Yeah.
It's the needs and
Chick
the
in the
wants.
house?
That's what it
Yeah.
is. What do you need and what do you want? It's like, and what is possible? It's all, it is possible. There's a whole bunch of things that can be done. You just have to have
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
little imagination.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole key to it as well. Your imagination can take you as far, as big or as little as you want, and imagination plays, I think, about maybe 85% of it.
Imagination.
It's true, man.
Because
It
I
really
mean,
is.
some of the hills, that have come out have been fantastic. And John, I mean, god dang man, the couple of sabers that you produced out, just I mean, exquisite pieces, dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
thanks, man.
someone
Appreciate it.
have the Vader
I'm just saying, yeah. I'm like, cause like with all of the ones that have been coming out lately, I'm like, oh, I want, but I want, I don't need, but I do want,
What I want.
And
There's a difference.
Yeah.
there's a difference. There is a difference of a
There's
need
a lot
and a
of that
want.
going on. Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Did he forget?
Yeah.
John
something?
froze. All right, John back. Okay.
Yeah.
John froze. Now he's back.
Well,
We're
I
doing
think
Max
Yeah,
Headroom
it-
today.
it-
Somebody said that.
I think
Yeah. Jim said it.
I think another good example of between a need and a want is, like I mentioned to James when you were cut off, Mundo, was sound ventilation and speakers. Like for example,
yeah.
I just bought a Nexus Luke Hero V2, the one that you
Mhm.
did a few months ago, John,
Mhm.
and the guy who I bought it from offered to upgrade the speaker to a Smuggler's Outpost speaker, and I took the offer on it right away because Smuggler's Outpost is he makes amazing speakers.
Hmm.
And so, and he told me he tested it. It sounds amazing. But if you are someone who enjoys having a very loud saber, and you have the money to go for it, I say do it.
Yeah.
Well, I
Probably.
think speaker quality is a necessity within a saber.
That's a fair
I
point.
mean,
yeah.
you don't want to have a saber that's just kind of half sound, and because you have that low ventilation, it does interfere with some of it sometimes. There's certain pieces that are not really well ventilated, and for example, I believe it's the Leia one that is not really well ventilated,
Are you talking about
and it's
the TXQ one?
I don't remember at this point right now, but I do remember it was a Leia that didn't have really good ventilation, and so it was very low to the noise level. You could barely hear it, no matter
Like most of
what
the
kind.
original Graflexes without the holes.
Yeah,
They're all like
right.
that. They have nothing. So
I mean, the 2007 Master Replicas Graflex that I have that's converted to Profi, it's got a big speaker in it. Like,
yeah,
I'm not sure what the size of it is. I think it's 28 or something. I'm not sure,
it's
but
28 probably.
but even with the cover on, I mean, it still can make noise.
Oh
And
yeah.
it's still vent, and it's louder with the cover off, but still. But either way, it all comes down to, I mean, speaker quality, obviously, but sound ventilation does play a crucial part. I mean, even
Oh sure.
if you put like for example, I also have the the Balin Skulls saber, the version that Saberforge made, and even though I have a plain like Nexus chassis inside of it, the sound ventilation still allows the sound to travel much farther, even if it is like the standard one made in China.
Yeah. And
I mean, the
also
other
depends on
thing
if the
that,
chassis ported too. If the chassis ported, then it'll go throughout the whole tube of the chassis. Well, sometimes that's good, sometimes that's bad. But if the speaker is enclosed seriously behind it, and the only thing coming through is a small hole for the wires, then obviously you're going to get more projection. But you got to make sure your opening is big enough to handle all of that air moving.
Bad example.
Sometimes I don't always do the solid back because of the way that the exterior porting is. So that what I do is I port the other way so that it comes through the whole entire hilt, and then you feel it and hear it.
Yeah, and the design of the hilt too. Sometimes, I always look at the hilt as if you're looking at like speakers, like regular speakers.
Yeah,
like your speaker itself is just part of what the sound resonance is going to be. Like the actual, I look at the hilt as the actual box that the speaker's in. The different size box, different shape box, different type of wood. Same thing with guitars, different guitars. And as a musician, different guitars, different materials of wood. I have a guitar from Rain Song that, they were a Hawaii-based one that was made out of complete carbon fiber. And the tone is so big and boomy versus, let's say, something that Yamaha makes out of like, let's say, a different type of wood that with a little smaller body, everything, And I have like the AZ sabers, the Vindari. That thing is a beast and a half of a sound.
Wow.
It's incredible. But you can, what's really cool about that thing, I mean, it's just a simple tube, but you can actually, when you put the pommel on, you can actually hear the whole tone change as you turn the pommel down, and it becomes from tinny to
whoa.
You know what I mean? So it's like really the placement of the speaker, the type of metal, everything that the hilt to me is that box the speaker sits in. There's so many variables of good sound because you could take a great sounding speaker and just hold it and it sounds like shit. Straightforward.
Right.
I actually have a physical example of this. I have a physical example of this. So here are two Nexus sabers.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3, Ahsoka Tano. So each have the same Profi soundboard. So here's Obi-Wan's. Come on, turn on.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Like, can you hear it? Like, even though it's there, it's not loud at all. It's just like
right.
So, but with Ahsoka's,
Hello, Master. It's
you can hear the difference right away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Design.
But
you
look at just Ahsoka's thing. Ahsoka's technically it's just a tube, so the sound is really reverberating through the whole thing. Kenobi has so many different little components, and they're all separate components.
There.
Exactly.
Yeah. There.
And it's getting pushed all throughout there. And I always felt like the Kenobi thing, depending on the speaker, where it's placed, and stuff like that. Like the Kenobi that I got from Corbanth, it was the Desert Wanderer. Has a 28 millimeter speaker in it and sounds phenomenal. But I have I believe it was a Nexus Profi version of that, and it sounds like dog crap. Yeah. You know what I mean? The cheaper speaker, different materials.
The one that he has, the one that doesn't sound very well. Well, there's different metals in there, and also those metals are very thick. So it's like you said, a speaker cabinet. If the walls are thin, you'll hear more of the bass response. If the walls are thick, you're not going to hear anything but mid-range and high tones.
Yeah.
So, the area right here is really thick.
Yeah, and aluminum is going to resonate different than like steel or stuff like that. It's everything produces a tone.
That's right. And there goes right there. That really, Rick, that coincides with the topic because do you need or do you want a steel hilt? Do you want or do you need an aluminum hilt? Which is your preference? Because like you were saying, the preference is going to be the difference between your resonation your sound, also the weight of it,
The
the
weight is big.
balance, the balance,
Yes.
the grip, everything about the differences of the hilts in the materials that you are going to buy really pertain to your needs and wants. You know, if you want that heavy bash your head type saber, go for it. But if you want that a little bit lighter but still feels good in the hand type saber, hey, there you go. Sounds
Yeah, and
great,
it
feels
also
great.
comes down
Uh,
to if you're a person that does a lot of tricks and a lot of spinning and stuff like that,
Yeah.
you don't want a 3 pound hilt to try to spin around.
No.
That thing's not going to move that fast.
No.
The lighter, the
That's right.
faster. You know what I mean? So it's you can have the same exact hilt made out of two different materials, and one's going to weigh 3 pounds, and the other one's going to weigh half a pound.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
mhm.
But Barris made a good point. It's that here. I bet you, if you took the chassis from the Obi-Wan and put it in the Ahsoka, it would sound different. You would have more of those bass tones because of just the way that tube resonates. I mean, you have so many layers in the Obi-Wan that it just doesn't. It will never sound like what you want. You know what I'm saying? So, in order to get what you want, you'd have to probably hollow it out. You know, get rid of more of the material so that it could resonate more.
And that costs more money.
That's-
Honestly, that's something I don't
yeah.
want to do.
Yeah.
I'm better off
Yeah.
selling this for parts and getting a TXQ even. And the TXQ one sounds even better from what I hear.
Which one was that?
Selling this one for parts.
No,
and getting-
what version is that? Is that the Nexus?
This is the Nexus one, yeah,
Oh yeah.
with the 3-inch Dark Wolf emitter.
I mean, it's a really nice hilt,
Right.
though. I swear, it's a
Oh,
really
yeah, it
gorgeous
looks
one. You know?
It's a great belt
Yeah.
hanger for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, but I'm thinking of probably selling this for parts in the future and getting a TXQ because I mean, even the TXQ one is probably like loads better.
Is that a want or a need?
Oh yeah. But there's also a huge difference. Even is that a Xeno or what is that?
It's a Profi.
It's a profit. So it's like even though it's a profit, like Nexus's processing in their boards is very different than what like the SN Pixels are. Like the SN Pixel has a much nicer, smoother tone overall. You know, and the everything from Nexus is very much thinner. You know, and everybody's always asking me like, do I prefer Xenopixel over SN Pixel? I'm like, there's a lot of things that I would smash together to make the perfect version.
Make it.
Xeno has a problem with a lot of
I
things,
agree.
but has a better app in a sense. But
Yeah.
the SN Pixel has a much better audio tone with a less powerful app. I can have more control here, less control here, but better
That's
sound.
right.
And you know what I mean? It's
Yeah, I
Yeah.
evolved.
I don't prefer one over the other. I need to smash them together and make my own.
I
That'd be
evolved.
nice.
I started out with Xenopixel, Xeno V3, and moved on to Profi. So that's why either or, regardless, I think when it comes to it, from what I've heard, TXQ just will sound better when it comes to the quality of speakers.
Yes.
And so that's probably what I'm going to go with. My only thing was I actually went with this version because the one that Dark Wolf sells, I like to have grip on my blade. And I mean, if it's 2 inches of blade, I mean, it's fine, but the more grip you have on your blade, the better when it comes to thin neck sabers.
Now, I think that is a very good point and a very big need because there's not much that you can do with, thin, shallow blade holders, So, I mean, I personally, I know eventually I'm going to get one. And from everything that I've watched and everything that I've seen, everything that I've read, it's going to be more or less a slow play with it, not get anything too crazy, just to hear
Not
it,
heavy.
hum. Yeah, nothing too heavy. Just
It's a swing
swing it
around, kind of enjoy the light and turn it on and off kind of thing. You'll
Yeah,
end up
and
either
put it back on the shelf.
snapping the end off or something. It's
Right.
the necks are always, they were designed to just mimic the real thing and have a little light show. That was it. If you want to get into dueling, then you get what Barris has got, which is that long deep one, which will
Yeah.
Yeah.
again, you still have to watch about
There
the
are some
metals.
things
The
that
neck
just
can still
look
go.
good.
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
I
know,
agree. I agree.
this is my
just like,
swing
it's
around
like,
one.
well, oh, there you go. Like these thin necks, like even
Yeah.
like the Star Killer. I mean, like I would
Yes.
be
Mhm.
scared that I would hit this too hard, or the crystal would come out, or the neck would snap on it,
Right.
or
Mm,
stuff like that.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm,
But even like the Graflex, just the clamp and everything, the Vader, all that kind of stuff. Like
yeah.
there's things that are just in the way that just are not practical, which is why they have stunt versions on on set and stuff like that,
That's
because
right.
Mhm.
they don't make sense in reality, but they kind of look cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the one thing, like Kylo Ren's lightsaber,
That's right.
those
Yeah.
stupid cross guards drive me insane, and then the
Yeah.
wire that comes out the front.
I'm not
Like
a fan of
what?
cross guards. I'm
It's a
not a
grip
Oh,
fan.
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not a big thing, but like the worst thing
Yeah.
with Kylo is that stupid red
I
wire
have
on the
mine
front.
sitting there too.
It drives me nuts. Yeah, like
Yeah,
it looks
I have
cool.
it.
It's on the wall.
I have the costume. I went out on Halloween night. I used everything, and I did try and wield that thing. And let me tell you something. You're right. I don't like the wire, but I do love the
Yeah,
cross guards because the
I didn't
cross
even.
guards give that effect of it's like everything is just spread out a little wider. But the wire,
Yeah,
I guess it
and
had
then
to
to
be
take the
because
and then
that's
to
the
take the
character.
battery out, you got to pull the damn wire out. You got to unscrew
You're
everything. Then
talking
you
about
have
the
to
Oh
put the
TXQ
yeah,
battery in,
version,
and then
not
put
the
the stupid
TXQ.
wire back in.
You're
It's
talking
yeah,
about
just
the
such a hassle.
yeah, the
yeah.
TXQ
But it's
version.
nice decoration. It's great stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it looks great on the wall.
I did a build and I used copper. I used a solid copper rod for one of them. I got rid of the wire. I said, "Do you want the wire?" He's
Oh
like, "No.
yeah.
What do you want to do?" Copper rod. Okay.
Oh,
Boop.
there you go.
Copper rod. Yeah. It came out awesome. It was beautiful. It's solid, and you don't have to take it on or off. It's great.
Speaking of James, I was watching your video earlier this morning, the one that you
Mm.
just did with the cutouts into the body of the saber,
Oh
and
yeah, the Ray
oh my
Reforged.
God, yeah, the
Yeah.
Ray Reforged, just
That was a
amazing, man.
specialty one right there, man. It was a wonderful experience, and I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun, man, to do something. And it's a RGB, and you want to duel with it, so I went to town on it.
Yeah,
So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. I did recommend that maybe it's not such a great idea. Maybe a little bit, maybe lightweight dueling or something like
yeah.
something like this, but not beating it against a cement wall or anything. But I think it's gonna
Hmm.
hold up. I really do. I'm pretty proud of the work that I did with the reveal.
Yeah, it's fantastic, man. And I think, hilts like that um portray a story, right? Every hilt is going to portray a story at some point in time, whether it doesn't matter what hilt it is, because each hilt in the challenges that come with installing them, but at the same time you want that hilt to tell a specific story in the specific time of the Star Wars universe, right? Whether it was handed down, whether it was found, whether it was lost, whether it was dug up, and John, like again, your videos on the weathering and stuff, I really enjoyed those because you actually make those sabers, and I'm telling you, the want for the weathering increases the storyline of those sabers because weathering, like I was saying, you want to tell a story with these sabers at some point in time, and weathering produces some of those type of stories, right? And even parts that go into these sabers, custom sabers, uh, produces so many things, so many needs and wants. Parts can tell a story, the hilts can tell a story, the chassis can tell a story. I mean, every little aspect of it can tell a story. It depends on how you either want to portray it or you need to portray that particular story.
Hmm.
So,
Bouncing
you're
off of
going
that,
to,
yeah.
yeah, absolutely, man. And again, imagination plays into your needs and wants of everything like that.
Yep.
So, again, like I was saying, uh, this particular hilt that I made, and from, most of this was just from the custom saber shop, right? and when I got this, I was going to use this to take the cons, to swing around, to play around with. This blade right here, I rebuilt. This was one of my old blades that actually the LEDs weren't working. I was having a lot of spots, dark spots and everything and all that good stuff. And so I found the battery. So let's hear and see what it's got. Let's see what I got on here, man, because I'm like, I got to make sure that my blade still. You hear that right
Oh
there?
yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I heard
yeah,
that.
yeah.
That is my best friend. That goes into Roy Boy. So I put Roy Boy's SD card in here,
Nice.
to test out the blade. So that is the soul of Roy Boy that y'all just heard right there, my best friend, Roy Harrell. So he's with us. My buddy's with us. So let's see if I did justice to the blade, and let's see if the blade continues to work.
There you go. Nice.
It works. Yep, and it's solid
good.
all the way through. Yep,
That's good, man.
not bad. Not bad.
Bad.
All right. So it's working. Where's Space right now? Because Space would have already. He would have put up that meme right now. It's working.
It's working.
It's working. I tell you. So again, a lot of needs and wants can go into specific sabers. Whether you want to, like you say, whether you want them for show, whether you want them for um display, whether you want them for cons. There's just so many factors. I personally, I want half and half. I want sabers that I can take to cons, and I want sabers that I can put and display back here behind me, and I can pick up, and we all pick up our sabers and light them all together, right, for the show. Um, there's also sabers that I actually want to have a few expensive ones, and hopefully one of these days I'll be able to get some of John's. I like those, man. Oh, especially the duality, and what was the other one? The
Shadowfall.
oh my God. Yeah, there you go. Man, I like those,
Yeah.
dude. I really
I got
do.
the duality right here.
Oh wow, that is beautiful.
Nice.
I'm telling you,
Wow,
they're
that's
gorgeous,
sweet,
man.
man.
Like that
Oh, I
saber.
love the
that
shrouds.
saber looks like something that would
Thanks.
come out of Star Wars: The Old Republic.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah,
sweet.
we're
man.
actually
That's
we're
awesome.
actually trying to do a couple of different versions of that, possibly like a gold brass kind of version, maybe a
Nice.
steel head version, so we can burn it and kind of heat stain the top and everything.
Oh yeah.
It's cool. It's got that inspiration of like that Cal Kestis on the top there, but yet it's got its own middle section. It's a
got a
fun little thing to
Sentinel
do.
Yeah.
I saw
Yeah.
that video that you did with the half Graflex and half Cal Kestis, and
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
oh,
Yeah.
that
what
thing
did
is interesting.
that's what I was saying.
That is 89 Sabers take on the custom sabers you're able to do in Jedi Survivor in the video.
Yeah, well, someone actually made a comment saying that they actually made that version in the game.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah?
Yeah, there is a if you pre-order Jedi Survivor, you actually get a parts pieces of the Graflex, which you could make into the graphics if you want, and you could also mix and match the parts into making that. So,
Oh, gotcha.
just like how Sloth Furnace did the Derelict from SWTOR, and then 89 Sabers copied it and did it for them. 89 Sabers this time at least did it on their own and not copy it off of someone else for it. But what's cool is that with 89 Sabers, and with particular with that piece, is that if you buy that version, you can also acquire the bottom part of the Graflex and just swap it out if you want.
Now, here's one for for all you guys in the chat here. Needs. What are some of your needs that you have to have in your sabers? Let's go with let's go with sound. Okay. Well, we're not going to do static just yet for the sabers, but let's go with the sounding sabers. What are most of your needs that you have to have in a a sounding saber? Are you needing, short? Are you needing long? Are you needing what kind of hilts and what kind of needs are you wanting for a sound saber versus the bass? Do you have to have, is your need for like a low bass tone? Is your need for or your want um for the sound? What is your most essential need within a sound saber? The bass, not a bass then keyboard. Bass. Jim says bass. He likes that bass in there. For I
No
guess for the
treble.
hum,
No treble.
no treble.
I'm sorry. I had to. I had to. You were lining yourself up so perfectly for it.
That's a funny thing. So many versions of that song, it cracks me up, man.
Right, right.
Yeah.
It's all about that bass. That bass. Oh my god. Have you seen the one on YouTube? The song. Oh my god.
I would just
It's
like it to be
crazy.
quality, you know. I don't want them to break up after a month. I don't want them to get ruined. I don't want them to, take abuse. I think the design is pretty good, but most of the speakers are designed just about the same. They have the same coils, the same magnets, I mean, maybe
Hmm.
maybe the care of the build is a little different, but maybe not so much, maybe more monitored, the machinery and stuff like that. Because, you do get some speakers that are kind of, and then all of a sudden it's like buzz, buzz, buzz. And then you're not feeling so great, and you just like, oh no, now I got to go to the Comic-Con. And guess what? Sounds like a bumblebee all day. So
Yeah, my
what I
Right.
my
like
core
the idea
bass
is,
was like that.
yeah,
Hmm.
but I like the idea of the pods. Some of the chassis now have those little speaker pods. So just in case, you can plop it in, plop it on, Um,
Yeah.
it's a nice thing, or have the little wire end so you could just plop it in yourself. But majority of the time, the speakers are glued in, or they're held in by something, and you can't get to it. So probably
I think.
accessibility and good sound for me.
Yeah. Well, I think another necessity of a basic need for a good sounding saber is the quality of board that you're going to get as well. You know,
Mm,
because the board is pretty much the heart of everything. I mean, you can't run speakers, you can't run anything without a good board. Yeah, you put in a crappy board, and what happens? Things burn up, wires get busted up fairly easily. I mean, back in the day, there was a lot of controversy where things would just be thrown basically together in the hilt. They'd get their hilt and bam, I mean, it wouldn't work,
mm,
within a couple of days. And you also have some people who are trying to make good boards that kind of get shafted. I mean, um, Electrum Sabers, man, I have to admit, as much trouble as that they've gone through, he's just trying to make everything right and getting things, fixed for people where he
sure.
could have easily where he could have easily given up and say, this is too much. But
Hmm.
I have to give it to him, man, because now he's putting in,
He's
golden
doing a lot of
harvest
profit
horns.
boards too, and yeah.
He's, yeah, he's doing a lot of profit boards. So, he's making things right where he went through, hell and back getting things, stolen and things just not,
Mm,
put together right. And, I mean, he's had to go through a lot of hurdles to get things. And, some people
crazy.
have to understand that it's a lot of work to do stuff to get things, caught up and you know keep going that way. So the
And
necessity
those
and
are
the need,
needs. Those
those
are
are
needs
needs, is a
and
good
wants.
bird. Yeah. I mean, your want is your preference of board that you have,
Well, sure.
you have. So in any of that, and the two different boards, or even three or four or five, whatever boards that are out there, you have your high end boards. Your CFX is good, your Profi's good, your Golden Harvest is good, and you know, John, I guess that the SNV4s are okay.
They got
And
good
what other
sound. Yeah,
boards?
they're good. The Xeno
You
3s have
know,
come a long way too. They're always updating the app and they're doing stuff. They got decent sound, for
Yeah.
the price for the product and the price.
Right.
I have never really so far seen any crappy boards. Like nothing that's just gonna break apart in my hand
Yeah, I've never
or
had
sound.
problems with any of the boards or the chassis for
Yeah,
Xeno or SN. I mean,
yeah,
they have their. It really, it comes down to how nitpicky do you want to be on what you bought. You know what I mean? For me, it's like I'm fine with the
choices.
SNs. I'm fine with the Xenos. I mean, yeah, the Xenos have
Yeah.
sound audio quality problems, but whatever. You know what I mean? Again, it's like I turn it on a couple minutes and then it's back on the shelf.
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah. So wants and needs of what you like. I mean, if you're going to do a lot
Yeah.
of stuff and you're going to choreograph and you're going to,
Right.
you're going to do things that you
So
just need
you're
more
like stuff like
capabilities.
choreographing, like things like
Yeah.
choreographing. If your sound quality almost doesn't even matter if you're doing like, let's say, like a film
True.
project, an indie
Yeah,
thing,
right.
because
Understood.
you can do it without sound at all. Because
And they
all of
have,
that is
yeah.
all sound design posted, you know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter, So
I plan on
again,
doing
right
it
there,
again, too.
did you need that sound quality for so and so?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, most of the movies overdub and stuff like that too, and
Yeah.
I've done that too. But
Mhm.
yeah, I totally agree. But to get the feel, you know what I mean? Just to get that feel when you're in the action part, an action scene, I don't want to hear. I want to hear wah wah. I want to get into the character. I love
Yeah.
sometimes. I understand the new the old Star Wars movies. They just had the fiberglass stick with no sound, and they were just whipping that stuff around. But now it's modern days. Now, come on, it's modern days. We can do this.
And I've seen some pretty
my
good
You talk to Disney about that because they seem to not be able to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess. Well, I think they just need the right. They need this, man. They need this.
Their quality lightsaber is mind-blowingly stupid. Like the technology is out there. What
I
are you
agree.
doing, man?
I don't even understand. I know, and as much money as the company makes, I would expect a really good quality item.
Yeah, I mean, you know what?
And
Put a Xeno
I was
board
hoping
with
for
one
that.
color, one sound, and that's it. Just be done with it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just give it smooth
Yeah.
swing, and you're fine.
Right.
I
totally agree.
I think
That's a want. That's a want and a need. That's like
that's
a want
a
and a
want.
need. Hurry up.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Their hilts are severely oversized. It's like like the Graflex looks cool, but there's still some problems with it. It's they're so close. So even if you wanted to mass produce the hilts, why you're telling me in 2025 you can't give a $250 combo package with a blade and everything? Smooth swing? Really?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
seriously? Like what decade
Totally
are you? Like
agree.
you're like this is tech from like 1985.
No,
It really is. And if you look
You
at
know
it,
what I mean?
if you look at it,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it is. You got to
Yeah.
see those
I would
boards.
say
They're like
here's
this
the thing.
big with
Here's
a
the thing. Disney's
And
lightsaber.
Disney
You know
and
who's
Disney has the capacity and the wallet to purchase good shit.
yeah.
I mean, oh my God. I mean, it is
Well, you see how many
unbelievably
people got
stupid.
tired of it, and that's why they started processing their own. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
because we were tired of it. I mean, if people are tired of offering these terrible things to people who want more than just a 15-second delayed swing. Hey, where am I going? Wow.
Yeah.
Let me put it like this. Let me put it like this. Ultra Sabers
Seriously,
is better than Disney Sabers.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, I think
to
the
a
quality
point,
of
to a point.
the contents of the sabers are great. Everybody has their own builds, their own bodies, their own styles, but the contents actually are the key. I mean, if you want that swing, if you want that stuff, you got to go for the better gear. It's modern times now, and
Yeah.
I think they should have realized that, a little bit sooner. I mean, I thought Force Effects was better than the Savvies because the Savvies is even worse than the Force Effects sound. It's my Force Effects when I first got it. At least it had somewhat of a swing. You can hear something, but
Okay.
Savvy's
Are you
hardly
ready?
had anything.
Yeah.
This is what pisses me off. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Which one is Disney?
I would have to say the top one.
Bottom.
Bottom?
I say bottom.
I say top.
I say top.
Top.
I knew
But,
it.
Yeah.
but look at the quality though.
Yeah. I know.
You know,
Okay,
it's almost-
okay.
they're-
I see.
They're almost like
It's-
identical
it's-
cards.
It's close. It's close.
Okay, I
Yeah.
see.
So close.
Now that you got it a little
But-
closer, yeah,
Yeah,
it's wider.
I mean, I'll put it.
Yeah,
Uh,
Right.
I
To
knew it was
the
top
naked
because-
eye. To the naked eye, you probably would never see it. So it's a great.
like if I
hill
showed
to
you
bring
this one
along.
right off the back, you
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
I would think
or I
it's
showed you this
too.
one off the back, you know,
Mhm.
like it's like what's what?
It's very difficult
You know,
to tell
They're
on camera.
in hand. They feel exactly the same. It's the exact
Sure.
same brushed metal, you
That's
know,
right.
same rubber
Mhm.
grips. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So it's like,
Yep.
what is this missing for $169? You know what it's missing?
Mhm.
Smooth swing. Because it
Yeah.
sounds decent,
It sounds
Yeah.
okay.
you know. Some of the Xeno pixels, they don't sound all that much different than what this does. You know what I mean? Like it has problems. Like it's like that's not accurate. That's just a black
Mhm.
thing. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's not accurate.
Yeah.
That's not even glass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
Sure.
But it's like it's 90% of the way there. Even
I
if
know,
that,
what
like
happened?
screw it. You know, like screw it. Like yes, give me that. Give me this. Put smooth swing in it. How did you screw that up?
I just wonder where it stopped. Where did
Well,
it
yeah,
stop?
well,
They
that's
did
always the
everything up to
question. It's
that.
like you
Yeah.
went all the way here and you said, you screw the rest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know what?
Yeah.
So
You know what I should do?
Totally funny.
You know what, James? You know what you should do? If I ever visit Galaxy's Edge, do yourself a favor. Print me your business cards. Like, print me 50 of your business cards. And if I go to Galaxy's Edge, I will just stand outside of Savi's workshop and just be like, "Hey, you want a better? Here."
Okay, so
Yeah,
Dude,
the
I
Savi's
did my.
the Savi's workshop thing to me is a completely different entity than buying
It is.
this.
It is.
I think
Savi's
so.
is like you
Experience.
bring your family, you're putting
Yeah.
these things together, you're building it probably with your
Yeah.
kid. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's probably an 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 13-year-old's dream to, oh my God, I'm putting this lightsaber together. I'm putting
It's
in my own
fantastic.
crystal. I'm putting in this thing. It's this whole story. It's a complete experience and they charge you for it. You know what I mean?
Yes, they do.
So
that's
between
the
that
point.
versus
Experience.
buying
Yeah.
this, where's my experience? Like I got 70 of these on my first round, you know what I mean? And they were okay. I liked them. I didn't have a NeoPixel or anything at that particular moment. And that's really what kicked off my channel, you know. But even when I first got there, I was at Galaxy's Edge, and I was like, I'm like, it's going up in 4 sections. I could deal with
Yeah,
that.
one did.
The blade's not that
Yeah.
bright. I guess I
Yeah.
could deal with that. But then I'm like,
Yeah.
whoa.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's disappointing to the experience of something like this that you've grown to love for almost 50 years now
Yeah.
for some people. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
77, we're almost 50 years in. So you go buy this for your first time, you know, and you're like, oh, that's kind of lackluster.
It's odd.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. It definitely is. Yeah.
And like,
For-
what made them
It is
go
lackluster.
90% of the way there?
For a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, though, they won't know the difference unless they're, you know, like a super genius or something. Goes, hey, Dad, this doesn't have
Right.
smooth swing. You know, I mean,
That's what they get the $30 ones for.
Daddy, this
Yeah,
is not
yeah.
real.
So, but I understand your point, and I totally agree. And I think they forgot about the adults who still love Star Wars and do want to experience that, and go there and do something like that, and go, holy moly, this is amazing. This is
Right.
great. Tell your friends.
Yeah.
You know, that's what.
And the
Yeah,
only
and they
thing I
went-
can come to is that a lot, especially, I mean, even me, I mean, you know, like I have, you know, 200 lightsabers now, you know what I mean? But, you know,
Yeah.
3-4 years ago, I had just my my Hasbro ones, which were basically the equivalent of Disney, but the blades didn't come out.
Yeah.
So I was
Yeah.
like, I wasn't expecting all that much more because I never owned a NeoPixel, so I didn't really know what to expect from it. So I think the majority of the people that go to, like, say, like Disney, what do they expect? What do they want? They want this. They want to buy this. They want to put it on their wall. They're turning it on 1 or 2 times, and that's about it. They're done. It's just going to sit on the wall. Oh, I got that at Disney. And that's it. That's their display piece until the end of time. They own one. They're probably never going to buy another one. It's probably either going to be this, Kenobi, something like that. One of the popular ones. You know what I mean? And that was their want and their need for their specific thing. You know what I mean? So again, it comes down to what the hell you're looking for,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just converted those 2 Sabbies, man. I just converted those 2 Sabbies to RGB duelers. So that is going to be an incredible.
Oh, I've seen a few of these converted into the NeoPixels.
Yeah.
Well,
which is, I mean, just buy a NeoPixel, I guess. At that point.
Well, yeah, it's just a conversion kit, and you have to install it. But yeah, absolutely, I've done millions of those. Those are pretty simple. All the Disney's, Galaxy's Edges ones are really, it's a tube, like we all said. It's
exactly.
A tube. You could do anything with a tube, really.
I just had an epiphany regarding my Obi-Wan saber. What if I took a TXQ Profi Core and I basically not the special one for the character sabers, but just the regular one, and I was to insert it, would it work?
The core?
Yeah.
But you have to match the button housing. It have to match the button presses.
Yeah, because here's the thing. This is one of the ones where it has this thing in it. So I'm not sure if it would actually.
Oh, the PCB.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the blade PCB.
Well,
so
I mean, you can convert it.
If the end of the core has the same PCB on it from another core, it's possible, but also depends on wiring. So you got to be careful.
Yeah, I don't want to fry anything.
No.
But I mean,
most of them,
the TXQs
I will tell you,
don't have
those
the pins.
are all the same kind of PCBs anyway. Most of those are the same, NeoPixel PCBs, and they use the same discs. But if you see the discs don't look, exactly the same as the other hilt, then I'd probably not attempt it, because the lining up of the chassis might be different. All depends.
Well, see, and I think that I think there's a shift from what people wanted from Disney to the custom sabers now, right? There is a shift from wanting what Disney had to offer to now needing what the custom sabers are doing with the smooth swing, right? Because now, like you said, John, nobody wants that delayed swing. Nobody wants to hear. You go to the movie. You take your saber to the movies, and you're sitting there in your chair and you're swinging that saber around. Watching, let's say, Empire Strikes Back. You take your saber and you're swinging your saber along with Luke, and you're the only one that's got a delayed sound, where everybody else is, in sync with the movie, right? And so, I don't know about you, but I feel like one of those assholes. They're just like, oh shit, oh shit. I should have got one of those.
You know what? I have to say that, it's all, like I said, it's all about budget. Some people, to be totally honest and brutally honest, is that a lot of people can't afford the big stuff, so they have to go with the little stuff.
You're
They
right.
have to start out with what they can afford and what they're what they're allowed to have.
I can't afford these things. If it wasn't for my channel, I would never have any of these. I can't afford them.
Yeah.
Well,
actually,
straightforward.
Yeah,
they're
I'm telling you.
I mean,
I'm straight up.
Especially now with all the tariffs coming in, these things are going to go from $300 to $500 up to like $600 to $800. And if you're doing like anything higher end, I mean, these things are going to well go over $1,000. Let's say anything that's imported from China, like everything is made there. You're going to have a $500 or $600 saber going to be, $8,000-$9,000.
See, this is why I'm trying to take a break from collecting lightsabers. At least buying them from AliExpress or anything like that, because it's going to go up. And I think the only ones I'll probably be able to get where it doesn't affect the price is X-Tech. I know a guy that I met on the Vader's Vault lightsaber forum on Facebook, and he said that he could be able to get me the X-Tech version of the Jedi Fallen Order lightsaber for about $250, $270 for a profit. And he said that the extra charge won't work because he lives in Canada. And China isn't tariffing the crap out of Canada, and Canada's not tariffing the crap out of China. So it all I need to do is just pay the amount that goes in the conversion
Right.
to Canadian dollars. But
Right.
ultimately,
Yeah.
and also
Well, they said Australia too. Australia, I don't think is a couple of companies like Jawa's Junkyard said that some of the stuff is not going to be affected. You know, whether it's under a certain amount.
Oh, that's right. Where are they?
Australia.
Oh, they're
Jawa-
Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Australia.
Jawa's Junkyard is in Australia.
But like Dark
And,
stuff like that, he said they're not being affected because I guess they've got their deal, which is great for us and for
Right,
the
because it can
customers
go
and
from
clients.
China to them, and then from them, it's a weird workaround, but if it works,
Somebody's
Yeah.
paying though. I will tell you, somebody is
Luke
paying
Sir-
if this is
Bruce
happening.
in the comments here, I bought a Luke ROTJ from him, and this was right before everything was going on. So I don't know if his deal will show up for it, but yeah, my Disney saver broke 3 times. This is why you don't buy from Disney. The mouse scams you. It scams you.
I think I've only turned my Disney Sabers on 3 times.
I swear, if I ever get a Disney lightsaber,
I still have
my
my string
I'm
blades,
going to
man. I
pretty
still
smile.
saved the bulbs. I don't
Wow.
know for what reason, but I still kept them all, and I all my blades are converted to NeoPixel now. But
I
I
swear
still
to
have my
God,
string blades pretty well.
I swear to God, if I ever get a lightsaber as a gift, I'm just going to smile, and then when I close the door, I'm just going to.
Hey, and if you
Yeah.
ever wanted to go back to classic, you and use the string blades, you can use a Profi. You can.
One of the things that
all those little bulbs.
going back to when I first started making a saber, I started with Roy Boy, and then now I'm working on my dad's one Memory Hilt, and then of course the Warlock right here, right? Now the Warlock was just a core type saber, but at the same time, in working on Roy Boy, the appreciation for really understanding what sabersmiths go through was a big help to me, because for somebody out there who doesn't understand why sabers are so expensive, what entails is not only the person's time and their money to put it together, but at the same time the quality that it should go through in order to bring you that joy, that happiness that you need when you turn it on, right? But working on your own hilt gives a whole new satisfaction. And John, I know you get so much joy and satisfaction when you weather the hilts and you see the end result of it. Like, oh my God, it brings it to another level, right?
Mhm.
And you experience that euphoria that you get. And James, also to you, man, when you complete a hilt, when you complete all of the necessary wants and needs of that client that is buying that particular hilt, what they want and what they need in that hilt,
Yep.
the amount of satisfaction that you get from completing that hilt, but not only that, the satisfaction that the client gets from getting that hilt, what they have wanted to see, to get what they wanted, to get what they needed within that hilt, right? Um, brings a
Yep.
whole new level of satisfaction on top of everything else. Now, the price also reflects, but again, I work with, and this is for people who have low budgets like me, John. Like you said, if it wasn't for your channel, you'd have a hard time getting these sabers.
Yeah.
For me, I want some unique sabers. This is my wants and needs. I want unique sabers that I can create. So the custom saber shop, I can utilize the custom saber shop to satisfy those wants and needs, right? I go daily into the builder and try to think up a few sabers for myself that I want to build, and that eventually I want to build and offer up for sale. Um, and so that particular route is going to satisfy both those wants and those needs with with an ends to a mean of me acquiring hilts that I can't acquire right now at this point in time. So let's say, for if I continue and I sell 5 hilts, that I built later on down the road. So for every 5 hilts that I build, I can buy 1 hilt for myself and use that other money to build some more and pay for a few things here and there and start over again with building some more wants and needs hilts from the custom saber shop. Now, mind you, and this is for people who are like me, that are on a very low budget. I have out of my paychecks, I get $50. That's it, $50 every 2 weeks. That's what I get to spend. And so what I do is I'll save that $50 and I'll wait for 2 weeks goes by. I'll buy parts for the sabers, and then it starts all over again. Now, when I have the parts to complete a saber, then I can put it together, right? So that's how I'm going to operate on making my hilts and eventually getting them all accomplished when I have enough hilts to go sell. So you don't have to have a lot of money and you have to have a lot of imagination, but at the same time it depends on your wants and needs and what you're trying to accomplish with your build, whether you want that crystal chamber, whether you need that crystal chamber, whether you need steel or aluminum. So all of those different factors, again, play hugely. um, John, as a collector, yeah, my brain's going 100 miles an hour, dude. So my apologies, man. And because I'm trying to shift from a collector standpoint as well as a I'm trying to go back and forth between an installer, a collector, and just an enthusiast all around. So my brain is like in 3 hemispheres right now.
Well, I
So
know
from a
I'm all three,
collector's
so
right? Like minds, I'm telling you, we got like minds here. So, from the collector's standpoint, you want to be able to have those specific needs met that you can go and swing it around a bit. Good sound, good board, good blade. I think the necessity, the needs of a great hilt or an awesome hilt is a great board, great sound, great quality hilt, right? And all of the above.
I think these
Your
guys are
quality of
handling
the
that though. You know what?
emphasis.
I think they're on the
Yeah.
right track, and I think they're doing it. They're starting to listen. They start to understand what all the people want. I mean, good blades, good sound, good hilts. I mean, that's it. What else? What else do we want? I mean, we
Well,
want them to have some
I think
capabilities and stuff like that. But sure,
Speaking of good
well,
sound hilts, one thing that I think that is essential when it comes to the sound is also the sound font that you use.
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And
Oh, that's
Coordinate
it.
with your
Yeah.
build, sure.
and actually this yesterday, Juan Sith
And that's a
Saber
want.
Pants, he came out with a dual pack from that were fonts from the SWTOR video game, and I had never realized it, but Star Wars: The Old Republic has a treasure trove of what I believe to be some incredible fonts that can be made and released to the public. And Ron Sith has done a few already, but I categorized a list of almost every single font that's available, and it's come up to over 40 fonts. Although, to be fair, most of them sound very similar. So if I'm being generous, somewhere between 35 to 38.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sound
And
fonts are
Yeah.
important. You know,
But
that's
these
also
are
a
just-
want and a
it's
need.
just-
Well-
You know.
it's beautiful, and some of these fonts are just
Well, absolutely. Here is another actually necessity need is good feedback. And John and James, I know you guys can attest to this because good feedback on certain things really enhance the experience itself as well
Yeah.
because you want to have certain if you have clients that have want certain things or John as a collector you want certain things within your show you emphasize hey let me know what you think in the comments right so when you emphasize that and you're seeking that feedback within your videos and James feedback within certain things from clients as far as their builds go and everything like that. I think that is a very necessary need, one as a collector and two as an installer to have necessary feedback to produce great, if not awesome, hilts and other things that come along with building awesome lightsabers, if I may.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. Sure. Yeah. A lot of
I,
detail
I
goes
think
into it. You know, a lot of thought.
right. So I think that, like I said, then there's a tremendous amount of need for feedback, and the importance of feedback is greatly not only greatly appreciated, but the necessity of it also produces great results with things that you either collect, buy, or make. And
Mm-hmm.
so, uh, as in terms of a want. You may want some feedback or you may need some feedback. So, in terms of these two different factions, the necessity of feedback, I think, is a greatly needed instead of a want, more or less. Um,
Mm.
so that we're producing great content, we're producing great hills, we're producing great sound, we're producing great LEDs, great blinkies, everything all the with everything above that. So
Yeah.
um, that particular issue stands the test of time as well for anything that comes out. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's the quality of a video, a fan made film, a movie, anything. Because
A
even
model.
Disney, you know, right? A
Oh,
model.
I love my C3PO, man. Check him out.
Oh
There he
my
is.
God. Oh, he looks great right there, dude.
Isn't he great? Isn't he good? I switched up my cabinet a little bit. I love him, man. He's so great. He's really
Yeah,
so
dude.
cool.
That's
Have you seen
perfect,
this?
man. 'Cause, like,
Oh, awesome! That's
look
cool,
at that.
bro.
oh man.
That's awesome.
It's cool. I don't know if the batteries
Wow.
work, but
Where'd you
like
pick
little
that up?
things. Amazon.
That's
Oh
fantastic, man.
yeah.
Little things like
Oh
that,
wait, hold
right?
on. Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Oh, that's so
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, dude, dude.
Fantastic,
See,
man.
nostalgia,
That's a perfect item.
It's like,
nostalgia right
and they
there.
have
Great item.
they have that. They've got the PKE meter.
Oh, that's
They,
great.
they have
Wow.
there's even the flux capacitor.
Oh, jeez.
oh my
Yeah.
god.
Hey, I got a saber font that works with that. So cool, man. That's really, really cool, man. I love that trap.
But
That's
it's like
awesome.
as a collector, it's just like anything that's just cool. Or I mean, this is like obviously it's not to scale, but it's like
That's
Right.
no.
it's just freaking awesome, and the fact that it's got
It
its
did a
own little
nice
blinky
job.
lights and everything, right?
It
think it
did a
was-
Yeah,
nice job.
exactly.
I think it was only like $15. I think if I
Yeah.
remember right.
It's fantastic.
But
See,
like
stuff
little
like
things
that,
like that.
man.
It's everything like that is just such a cool little thing to have floating
Yep.
around. Like this. I've got a big Back to the Future collection, so this little flux capacitor is
Love that.
amazing.
It's fantastic. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, have you gotten James's font that's from Back to the
Uh,
Future?
I don't know. No, I
Yes.
don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
it's great.
you've got to get it, John. You've got to get it, John. Go
Oh,
to
hold
his
on a sec. Wait,
website
hold on,
and
hold on a
get it.
sec.
Yeah, I do a lot of custom stuff, so that was one of the.
You know what? I'm gonna find it so John can hear it, dude. I'm gonna find it so John can hear it. I am, dude. And you know I gotta show
Now,
your stuff off, dude.
now this doesn't work. It's not installed. It's just empty. It's a display piece. But my buddy over at Saber Temple made this for me. It is my own custom Back to the Future Graflex.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
God, that's badass.
Oh,
That
With
is
the
such a
key,
crap set.
that's
Oh
awesome,
my
man.
god.
No
Oh,
DeLorean
no
key.
way.
Yeah.
dude,
I
look
knew
at
as
that.
much.
John, if you ever
That's
meet Michael J.
awesome.
Fox, you've got to show him that.
Right. And I was originally going to try to find someone to do an install on it and get a flux capacitor installed, but it's no one can do it. And then like even like the price would probably be like insane. It's got a little Back to the Future logo on the side there.
Oh,
And get
wow.
those
Yeah.
screens to work on
Dude,
So it's
top.
like
I
Yeah.
bet you anything James can do a mini flex capacitor and
Oh,
get it
man.
in there, dude.
Christopher Lloyd would just, oh my god.
Yeah. But
Oh.
this was a project that
love
I was
working like
trying to do just for myself, and it's just just can't afford
Fantastic,
it, man.
awesome.
It's like, but he
So,
did such a
John-
great job. It's all vintage pieces and stuff like that. A real
Yeah.
DeLorean key. I just love this thing.
That's awesome. That is fantastic, man. That's a good piece. I love the screens
love
on the
it, yeah.
top, man. Do
Yeah,
those
right?
actually
That's-
illuminate? Would they
No,
illuminate?
I think you know what?
Yeah.
I think it's just like taken from like a keychain. I think this was.
Okay.
And it's on there with a magnet, so you can actually remove it.
Great.
You know what I mean? Like even the
Wow.
wires. The wires are magnetic. You can move the wires around wherever you want. You
That's
can take the wires
fantastic.
off.
What a
You know,
great,
I basically
what a great
I
idea.
gave him a design idea, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
I don't know if you could figure this out, but here's a basic outline of what I want. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And he said, I'll figure something out. It might not be exactly how you designed it, you know, but I'll figure something
Fantastic.
out. And it's got the little Luke section in the middle
Yeah.
there. He did a
Yeah.
great
Oh,
job.
that is
man.
super
He
cool.
really
That is
did.
cool. That's a cool hill.
Yeah, and it's
Jesse
totally
and Cole
hollow,
are in
like,
the-
so it's
in the
like I
chat,
wanted to
man.
get it installed, but it's like
Oh yeah.
I would need somebody to like to design a flux capacitor, and then and it all
Yeah.
comes down to money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can't afford this crap. You know what I mean?
Never say
James can
never.
do it.
Yeah.
I might,
James
I
can
might-
do
I
it.
might have I might have a deal for you, my friend. So never
James-
say
James
never.
can do it, dude.
Expensive, 'cause I
Well,
can do a lot of
let's
things that
chat,
are
man.
under budget. I can
Oh,
do
hey,
a lot
I'm
of
not
things that
sure
are
if-
under budget.
But it's like it's even like that. Like I came like
Yeah.
I wanted that, but was it a need for me to get it installed? It was a goal.
Mhm.
But in the end, it was like, this thing is it's on my wall. It's on a little backlit wall thing. It's just a
Very nice.
fantastic piece to put with all my freaking Back to the Future stuff. You know what I mean? It's just like a nice little centerpiece.
Yeah.
Kyberphonic and Blue Mamba are in the chat, man. Welcome, guys. So I'm gonna find that font
to be a standard secret
so
file.
you can hear it, dude.
You went over my helmet?
Yeah.
Charges.
Oh my God, was that Spaceballs?
It was Spaceballs.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Vindor.
Tundar, the barbarian.
That's one sis right there.
That's a cool one.
Let's see.
The classic villain.
Dark Harvest. The Shadow. The Vet. Eternal Prince. Son of God. Cryocarbon.
Think I'm getting close.
Daddy
It is. The order.
Balance.
Let's see. Ship.
That's
There's the Halloween.
This is General Kenobi. Be wary. Sense of disturbance in the force.
appears to be a standard sequence file.
Oh no.
You went over my helmet?
Okay, so this one may not have it, but I think I do have. Hold on.
Suspect charges.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to switch the SD cards. Hold on. So
That's
let me
got
see
a
here.
Halloween beam on it, though. That's really cool, though. That's a fun
Yeah.
Halloween one. I love that.
yeah. Hey, I'm not sure if you guys heard, but Korbanth is coming out with their own version of the Ventress Saber.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Watched it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the curved one or is it the other one?
the curved
Curved
one.
one.
This is mine
Oh, the
from
curved.
the X-Tech version, And
Oh, yeah, I have that one.
it's
good.
going to be a 1-inch blade. It's going to hold a 1-inch blade, but I am looking forward to.
TXQ and LGT are putting one out too, like at the same time.
Really?
Yes.
Yep. It's the technically Bad Batch because it was first appeared in Bad Batch,
Yeah.
Dark Jedi. But honestly, I do have a question, Jesse. Are you going to be doing a yellow Ventress font now that more of her lightsaber will be heard in Tales of the Underworld?
Oh, you're asking me?
No, Jesse.
Oh, Jesse.
Cyberphonics is
You mean
in the
John?
chat.
Oh, probably. Yeah, I'm sure he probably.
Yeah, Jesse.
As of right now, the only one I know who has done a yellow Ventress font is Juan Smith, and that was only of the 10 seconds that it was shown on screen in Bad Batch Season 3. Yes. Yes. Yes.
There you go.
Thank you. That is good to know. That is great to know. Thank you.
I love Ventress, man. She's like such a fantastic character.
Right? I can't wait.
I love her.
Ever since she was introduced in OG Clone Wars, her character has definitely been more fleshed out in New Clone Wars, and now with Bad Batch and with Tales of the Underworld. I think that it's incredible. The voice actress is incredible. Yeah. It's just
Her story arc is fantastic, but it gets, if you read Dark Disciples, it gets a little confusing.
Yeah,
with
Dark
that,
Disciples,
because I did a whole episode on with the saber. What was it with the one? With the Dark Disciple saber, the 89 sabers version,
the OG Ventress.
Yeah, and I talked about that whole thing, and it's very strange because she's a fantastic character, and I love the fact that she came back in Bad Batch. But if Dark Disciple is part of canon, then what are they doing? I don't know if. From what I heard, wasn't it? Wasn't it canon?
It was a dark. I feel like Dark Disciples and how they brought her back in Bad Batch was an oversight on whoever is running the canon board. I'm sure that Dave Filoni knows this, and I'm sure that he is probably going to explain something about it in the future. And because look, Dave Filoni is many things, but I don't think he would intentionally retcon a character like that without an explanation.
Yeah. So my question is in this show, are they going to address it in this show? Since it's a Tales of, what's the name of the show?
Tales of the Underworld. New short.
Tales of the Underworld. And the fact that she's going to be in it, I wonder. They probably won't. But I wonder if they're going to address her either return, or if it has, or that book has absolutely nothing to do with canon anymore. Because it's a weird little situation.
Well, at least we know the kid that's with her from the trailer. It's not Nari.
Omega?
It's not Nari. Maybe it is, and maybe he involved his saber a while back. Who knows?
They didn't say who it is, right?
No, they did not.
No, okay.
But not only that, but we've got more sounds for the Ventress V2.
Does she want her bow back? Because I borrowed it, and I just wanted to know. I wanted to know if she wanted it back.
Yeah,
that's awesome, dude.
That's awesome.
Look at that thing, man.
Oh,
I gotta get me one of those, dude.
Oh man,
let's
this
see.
is all
Look at that.
3D printed.
Oh, I love
3D
it.
printed.
That looks great.
But yeah, we also have a new Inquisitor, whoever it is.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to Tales of the Underworld. I like the shorts. I like the stuff that they've come out with. And look, Tales of the Empire was meh. I will agree with that. But ultimately, when it comes to fonts, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wish that they weren't shorts. I wish they were actual episodes. I wish it was like a full series.
At least,
you know what I mean?
I agree. And who knows? Maybe somewhere along the line.
I just feel like they treat Star Wars just so weird. Like Marvel, look at Daredevil. Every Marvel thing that comes out are like 50-minute episodes and everything. They're full shows, full seasons, and like everything that comes out with Star Wars is just weird.
Well, I mean, with the shorts,
Yeah.
I kind of get because they're shorts, and there are other shows that Star Wars has made that are longer.
I still
But
don't understand why they're not going back. They keep going forward to these hidden times, but they're not going back to where it really started. That's what I want to
I
see,
think-
man. I want to
yes,
see
I
that.
would-
I want to see that
the
too.
bleeding of the crystal.
Sure.
You know, I want
I
to.
would love
Yeah,
to
yeah.
see
all
more.
that.
I would love to see Old Republic. I
Me
definitely
too.
would want to see that. But I think in this
More of it.
case, what I think is what they're doing is they're trying to build the canon that is supposed to be there, because
Exactly.
before Disney bought Star Wars, the EU that was created was very fleshed out. There were bits and pieces that were covered in the comics and the books, even going as far as to bringing the Mortis gods into the EU after the Fate of the Jedi novels. But now, and I think this is sort of what Dave Filoni is doing, is kind of trying to touch it up, especially. But what I do wish
Ghost in the house.
with these other projects is to definitely create new stories, because look, as controversial as the Acolyte show was, they were able to bring to life a part of Star Wars that we only see in comics and books. So, like I say, controversial with a lot of other things on it, but they made an attempt, and even with all the hate that it got from all the trolling, there are still people that want it back.
Yeah, you know what their biggest problem? Just take the look, the overall visual look of Acolyte. Why does it not look like Andor? You know, and then why did Obi-Wan fall so flat on their face when that should have been a pile of gold? You know what I mean? They're giving no budgets to the wrong things. You know what I mean? Like, how you could have in any way screwed up something like an Obi-Wan and Darth Vader show by almost making it about a whole different character that no one's ever heard of is mind-blowing. You know what I mean? Like, who cared about Reva? Like, we all grew up with Vader and Kenobi, and we want to see where their story went after, like, the Clone Wars and stuff like that, you know? And then they made it about this random, like, she really was the show, and no one cared, you know?
She was a
And
star
then
in the show,
the most important part was the fight between Kenobi and Vader, and they kept cutting to her. They pulled you right out of those scenes that were so important. It was like, what are you guys doing, man?
Yeah,
you know, it just doesn't make any sense. And then they go along and they come off along with Andor. I was not a big fan of Andor season 1. I'm hoping 2 I really love, but visually and cinematically, Andor felt and had all of the essence of the original Star Wars.
It's not a matter.
Acolyte did not. You know what I mean? Story, even if you turn it on mute.
Lightsaber choreography was great. You cannot deny that.
Yes, no, I liked it.
Yeah,
but
that
even
was
if you
damn good.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's one thing. There's a difference between like choreography and the overall visual look of something. You can put Acolyte on complete mute and not listen to it at all. Put soundtrack on. You know what I mean? And it's still visually, for some reason, pulls you out and feels so very small. It looks like it's filmed on a tiny TV stage, where Andor is out there in the real world, like they filmed the original movies. You know, it was out there in the world. It feels massive. It feels big. It feels immersive. You know,
fair point.
Kenobi didn't. Kenobi felt small. Acolyte felt even smaller. You know, and it's like, I think if they're going to treat Star Wars like they treat Andor, like every episode, every show and everything, treat it like Andor. Give it a big feel. Give it a big look, a big cinematic thing. I think they would be a lot more successful. You know, because so many people loved it. I mean, again, I thought it was just very slow, but damn, visually, it was there. It felt right.
I just want to say for the record, John, that I'm going to actually be meeting Vivian Blair at Metrotham Con in June, and I will forget everything you said about Kenobi just for her sake.
You know what? There are a lot of elements about Kenobi that were really cool, that were really good. And if you watch the fan re-edit of that show, it is so much. The 2.5 hour edit film
I watched it.
So much
Guy
better.
Patterson.
It is
Great.
just so much better.
It's great. It was very well done.
And it's
But it
so
goes to
weird.
show
It's
you
so
how you
weird.
could take the. It goes to show you how you could take exactly what they film and re-edit it 5 different ways, and it could either fall flat on its face or be very successful. You know what I mean?
And that's the needs
with,
and the wants.
the needs and the wants.
That's the
There you
needs
go.
and the wants.
You
Yeah.
know, if Disney had a thing they were shooting for and an agenda to go
Yeah.
for, and it pulled away from what it could have been.
Yeah.
You know,
People
and
wanted to see a specific thing, and Disney
Right.
gave us a total fuck
gave
up,
us something what
whatever
they
did.
wanted.
What they wanted, exactly.
Right.
It's what they want.
Well,
Not what
I hope
the
they go
fans
down- I hope they
needed.
go down the old Republic road. I hope we get to see something like Darth Malgus, all those guys.
I
You know,
would like
wanna
to see Revan. I would like to see
Yeah.
Malik.
Oh God, I would love to see Revan. I got Revan right over there, man.
Yeah.
I'd love
There
to
you
see
go.
Revan, man.
Wouldn't
And-
that be amazing, man? Now,
Yeah.
that's a show. That's a show.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there was
We
a
need
rumor
to see
for
a
while
Revan.
that
I want a movie.
Yeah.
I don't
there
want
was a
We need
rumor
to see
for
a
while
Revan
that,
movie.
Keanu Reeves was supposed to be a
There was
Revan.
there was-
Yeah, John. That's what I was hearing too. That
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves wanted to play Revan.
Oh, is that what
He
it was?
wanted
He
to play
wanted.
Revan.
Okay,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they
He
Yeah,
did.
that's
wanted
what-
to play
Wow.
Revan.
He's an ageless guy. He would. He would make. He would.
I love
he would
him.
Still look
He'll
30
do
years
it.
old.
Just
He's
like
fantastic.
Jason Momoa
You know-
finally got
and you
what
know
he
what? It's
wanted
like,
in
he could
playing
be-
Lobo.
Yeah, I mean, Keanu Reeves could be almost any age. I mean, you got to think about it. Like Revan's going to have a helmet on probably most of the time.
Well,
Most
actually,
probably.
if they decide to do a Revan show, they need to decide whether or not they're going to follow the route of the KOTOR game, or if they're going to start earlier on and do with the Mandalorian Wars, because
Right.
the
Where
the
he actually finds his helmet and
The
yeah,
KOTOR-
I mean, yeah, there's some
KOTOR
different routes you
comics.
can go.
Featuring what's his name? What?
Griffin,
What? No.
Griffin.
No. What was the name of the main character?
Mando?
No, in the KOTOR comics that took place during the Mandalorian.
Oh gosh. Geez, you know what? I can't even remember either. Damn.
Oh, let me see. His name was. Come on. What was it called? Oh, come on. It was by John Jackson Miller. It took place. Okay, plot summary.
Later, Kushner.
Zane Carrick. The background of the Mandalorian Wars and some of the extra filler from that time period was filled in during the KOTOR comics, which was about Zane Carrick, but it included a bunch of other stuff.
Mm.
And with the whole the Jedi Covenant that killed off their Padawans because they thought they were like turning to the dark side, evil sort of thing, and Zane Carrick getting blamed for it. It's just, I don't think that particular storyline would be fully integrated if they did a Revan based show, but it would be a great splinter off show.
But think if they kind of followed the game a little bit, imagine all the characters they can bring in.
But that's the thing is that
Yeah.
if they followed the game,
You know,
If they
A
Satele,
lot.
you know.
well, no, we're talking KOTOR, not SWOTOR. SWOTOR is like 500 years later.
Mm.
But with KOTOR, if they were to follow the first game and the second game, they would have to include more or less different scenes, and they can't just follow a full linear story about how it was done.
Mm.
Like for example, the Revan novel, the Old Republic novel Revan, that in itself can be a movie on its own.
Was Revan and Malgus in the same timeline?
No, Malgus took place during the Old Republic game. Malgus-
Right, and that was the one. That's the one I'm thinking of with Satele and right, yeah, okay,
Aaron
yeah.
and all
Yeah,
those.
still shit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I got
here's the cool-
back on my game.
that would actually.
Yeah, you know what? I haven't played these games in so
I'm telling you, man.
But here's
I
the
have it
thing,
on my
like,
computer.
here's
It's
the
just
thing-
sitting there
here's the
calling
thing
me,
about
going, "Hey."
SWTOR. Here's the thing about making a movie or TV show based off of SWTOR is that all the characters, when you make the character that you select, you either have to be a Jedi, a Sith, a bounty hunter, And I think a problem is going to be for the writers' room. Who are they going to pick for the
For a
leading?
storyline.
Because I mean, the safest route would be to do the Jedi. Another route would be the Sith. I mean, they could do one of those things where you choose which storyline you want to do. But the problem is that they would need a very, very, very big budget for that.
Yeah.
You could do multiple movies, and each movie is a different viewpoint. You know, like they do that stuff like in TV shows. You know what I mean?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
But I think
You know?
that, I think that they should first focus on the Knights of the Old Republic timeline, then move into Old Republic and the Great Galactic War, because it's mostly just about continuity, and it would just look so much better.
But
Well, it feels like
where
Pulp
we don't have to
Fiction right
worry.
now, you know?
You know where we don't have to worry about continuity? The new Ray movie, if that ever happens. Because now we're,
Right.
you know, now we're
Yeah.
now
They already broke that.
Yeah, damn.
Yeah.
You know, why are they stopping at all the good stuff? You know, they always stop at all the good stuff.
Yeah, I will look. I have no problems with Daisy Ridley. I think she's a great actress. In her own.
She's a fantastic actress.
She was fun in the whole
Yeah.
movie. I thought it was cool.
Yeah, it's just when it comes to writing and Rise of Skywalker, it just when I saw she and Adam Driver kiss in Rise of Skywalker, I literally said out loud in the theater, "Are you serious?" And everyone laughed. And I knew that I wasn't alone, but still, it was just an embarrassing moment.
Yeah.
He got Kathleen. Put a chicken in and make her gay.
They honestly, they lost me. I was so on board with Force Awakens, and there's a lot about Force Awakens that I do like, but that movie was like miss. It like, I mean, think about it. Like that was like the first one that came along in years, and it looked fantastic.
Yeah, it did look.
You
Right.
know? And then why, in the name of God, would you have not put all of the original characters in that movie together? It was such a miss, you know, like there was like that fight in the snow, you know, with
Well, I think they were trying to do
with-
another whole set of movies. You know what I mean?
Well, what they were trying to do was like really screw with people's heads, I think, you know, because and honestly, I don't think if they wanted to really pay back the fans for, well, I guess 40 years, I get it, like 40 years at that time when when Force Awakens coming out, they honestly, they should have had Luke in it. They should. I mean, that was the only time. We've lost half that cast already. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she's gone, Leia's gone, Chewie, the original Chewie's gone.
Hey,
You know what I mean? It's like we'll never physically see them in one room.
The guy who plays the Wookiees now is amazing, and
He's great. Yeah.
Peter Mayhew.
Yeah.
He couldn't have even been. He was only able to do a couple scenes, and most of them were.
Well, I think he did a lot of the sit down ones, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
but still, you know, it's
Yeah.
like you will never see that whole cast. They killed off Han, so he's not coming back.
Han
Luke
wanted to be
disappeared.
killed off.
You know what I mean? Like,
killed off.
well, he wanted to be
No.
killed off years ago.
I don't know if you guys would agree with me, but the ending, the way I wanted it to be, or not needed it to be, but the ending that I would have loved to have seen, for me, and this is my personal view of it, right, is I would have had Luke there, right, and he would be the one in place of Daisy Ridley's character fighting Palpatine, right? Cross the swords, screw him up, you know, he kills him off, right? But right at the end, when Palpatine disappears, Luke dies at that moment in time too, and hands Daisy Ridley. Luke should have
been brought in way sooner. Way sooner.
You know?
Luke should have been in. Luke's introduction into Force Awakens should have been in the snow. That fight scene that Kylo Ren has with what's his name, Finn,
with John
Finn.
Boyega.
Yeah. Finn.
When that lightsaber flies across,
Mhm.
that's where Luke should have come in. He should have been the one to battle Kylo and get them to wherever they need to go. He should have been
Yeah.
the one to get them out of that situation.
I can
You
see
know?
that. I
And,
can see
and
that.
from that point on, all the other stories could have been totally different. You know, but instead we you know, it took years and years and years. How many freaking decades went by that we never saw Luke on the screen, and then they ended with Luke and then started the next one with Luke and he throws the lightsaber away?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, that
yeah.
was just, you know, I mean, come on, man. Like, I sat there and during that movie, I'm like, this movie it's going to be great. It looks fantastic. You know, it's like, look at the X-Wings. The X-Wings really look like they're there. And then the lightsabers looks great. And I'm like, oh, Luke's going to come. Luke's going to come. No, all right. Oh, look, now he's going to come. Now he's going to come. He never comes. It never happens. We never saw them all together, man.
Yeah.
Well, like
terrible.
I was saying, I would have loved to seen, you know, Luke defeat Palpatine and hand that saber back to Rey. That would have been
There could have been a beautiful passing of the baton in that, and just, you know, hands it over to the next generation.
You know what
There
would have
could have been,
awesome?
and they didn't do anything right.
They could have demonstrated Sidious using his lightsaber skills. We only got to see that briefly in Revenge of the Sith, and we got to see him go ape in Clone Wars.
And they never really explain how he comes back.
In the novel, they do a better job at it. In the novel,
but what they did explain was that he was so powerful, he didn't even care to use the saber because he was already already manipulating them, you know, mentally.
He could, but he would still do it because it would just be a power. It'd just be a power move over them anyway. And plus,
I mean,
imagine if
that was fun for him
to fight them.
that was just pure fun for him, dude.
I mean,
the wants and the needs. The wants and needs of a Sith Lord.
Right? Exactly.
Ultimately,
but right there, that whole thing goes back to the wants.
With lightning today.
We go from the wants of the fans, and then what they wanted to give. You know what I mean? Because honestly, I think, you know, you watch like the Acolyte and stuff like that, and I've actually said this to a few people. I may have actually said on one of my episodes. I think Disney's at a point where, and it's almost kind of sad to say, they almost don't care about the older generation. They're dying off.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying.
You know
before,
what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like I'm into Star Wars because of my dad. My dad was 74 when he passed away. You know what I mean? I'm going to be 46. I think what they're trying to do, whether we like it or not, doesn't matter. You know what I mean? They're trying to service the next 50 years of fans because none of us in this room are going to be here for the next generation of Star Wars
generation.
Fans. Right.
So that's why
and
they resolved in
right.
kid stuff.
So like the little boys and
kids.
girls that are like loving Rey, just like when, you know, a lot of people grew up and they hated Jar Jar, like our generation didn't like Jar Jar. You know what I mean? But you know what? Those people are like in their 30s now and they love the prequels.
You
know? So 40 years down the line, there might be a whole generation of kids that are watching Acolyte, you know, or, you know, whatever comes out after this, you know what I mean? And say, oh, that's the Star Wars I grew up with.
Yeah.
I don't think they care about any of us anymore. We're too old. And the original generation from 77, some of them are gone.
Me.
What?
I'm 30 years old.
Well, no. What I'm saying is like the original generation that were in their 20s and 30s.
That's us, like myself. I'm 55,
right. Like
so I was there
my dad
for the first
was,
screening.
I think, 30 something. Right. My dad was like 30 something, I think, when 77 came out. You know what I mean? My dad died a few years ago and was 74. You know, he would have been almost, you know, 78, I guess now. You know what I mean? That generation it's dying off. You know? So I think they're just trying to service the next one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think that's why a lot of people have been
complaining,
you know, in groups and
can do that, but they can't just they have to have good storytelling. Otherwise, you're just gonna have a hot mess like Rise of Skywalker, or God forbid, Snow White.
Well, again, there goes the common denominator. You need a good storyline to carry that, you know, the torch. to carry those characters, just the same as you would for the sabers.
I
Good
think right
Stories
now
characters.
have
they
gone
have to.
Good.
downhill lately. I haven't
They've
seen
got to
it.
be really careful right now. They're
Mhm.
losing it. I think they're losing grip of that franchise.
Mm.
If, did I hear correctly? Because I heard like on I guess a YouTube video that Disney is closing their park, and I don't know if
What?
that's true or not. Yeah,
Galaxy's
Where,
Edge.
apparently,
whereabouts?
apparently they're losing so much money. They're losing so much money right now that they may be closing some of their parks because of the new rides that they're trying to put in that nobody likes and all kinds
Well,
of
look at all that.
failed
Well, look at all
stuff.
that money that they lost with that Star Wars hotel crap that they did.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
It didn't even last a
Yeah,
year.
the
West
cruiser. Yeah,
Westworld.
Yeah.
They tried,
yeah, the
but
cruiser.
that would have been incredible just to experience one time. You know what I mean? I know it's
Right?
expensive.
Yeah.
That would
Who
I'll
cares?
You
never
know
get to
what?
experience that.
Yeah.
They should have made that like a Star Wars
Cheaper.
mall. Yeah, well, cheaper, but
Hmm.
I think they should have like after they closed it down, they should have just said the hell with this. Let's turn it into a mall where it's like a gigantic shop. You know,
That would
where
be
you can
Exactly.
awesome.
go there. They already had the restaurant. You can go there. You can eat there. You can go shopping. You can experience if you just open it
downtown Disney.
Yep.
like
Yep.
downtown Disney.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just
Right.
open it to the public. Let people get in there. Let people eat. Let people have fun. Play the games. Whatever it is. Let it be
Yep.
part of the park experience.
Yeah, that's a great
It's already
idea.
there. Why not? You know what I mean?
I think
Well,
some of
maybe
their
they,
Imagineers have no imagination now.
well, maybe they
I
will
don't think
reopen
Disney
it in
does.
that case. Who knows? You know, I don't know.
Maybe.
I mean, it seems like they just do one thing and it's a one-off thing and it's like a one-hit wonder, you know, and then they leave it like it didn't even
Yeah.
matter. You know,
Yeah, it's
And
just strange.
it's a
it's
shame.
unfortunate,
It's a
but you know
shame.
what? That's why we still can be imaginative and we could still create our own designs and we could still do our own hilts and we can still have a blast. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
our own stories. You know, there's so many different films and fan films on the channels and everything that, you know what? I kind of go to those now because it's pretty cool to watch other people's imaginations. I have some myself, and I plan on doing another one because I love doing that. I love film and I love
Right.
audio and all that other stuff. So, and I love sabers, so I'm gonna do it with you know, a prop of mine that I have. So it's pretty cool. You know, so I think the imagination is still there. And I would love to see it in the theaters and on the screen. You know, I really wish that
Yeah.
would come to life for all of us. You know.
Yeah.
You know, it was what is funny that I think is, man, I want Disney to start me off, but I need these other facets, the fan films, the custom sabers that Disney doesn't do.
Yeah.
I need that other stuff to fuel my passion for the sabers, for the movies, to get what we didn't get that Disney did not give us, that we
That's what I
should
do.
have gotten,
Too.
Oh,
that
hey
we
guys,
should have gotten.
I just found out
Yeah.
something. So you know Atten Rand from KOTOR 2?
Yeah.
So apparently the slicer, apparently the guy who voiced him, Nicky Cat, just passed away. He's
Oh
50
no,
years old.
really?
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, his name.
So now I know that you would think that Disney, with an unlimited budget, so to speak, that they would do much better than a lot of these fan films, and I think it's pretty sad that a lot of these fan films beat the shit out of what Disney
Oh yeah.
produces.
Well, I'm
Oh,
just
yeah,
sure
definitely.
it's bad production and it's bad investments. It's bad things like that that bring everybody to their knees. I mean, you can't expect them to, you know, if they're not part of the original crew, you know what I mean, so to
Mhm.
say, for like incentives and like a guide, a shoulder, you know, a little guy on your shoulder saying, "Hey, man, you know, maybe you should do that. That would look good," you know. You know, just like what we were talking about, the Kenobi remake, you know, the guy took it,
Yeah.
edited it all out, and it was shorter and it was better. It
Mhm.
looked more like Star Wars and it was proper. You know what I mean? So I think
Hmm.
if that comes to fruition, maybe somewhere in the back of their head somewhere and comes to the front, maybe we can get some stuff happening. You know, I'm seeing that Tales of the Underworld thing. I don't know, you know, how I haven't seen anything about it yet, but you know, I'm hoping that's something that might, you know.
Well, there's been some
Tales of the
speculation
Jedi was
now.
great.
Yeah, well,
Right?
that too. Yeah, that was very good. Yep.
Yeah.
Tales
The
of the
Jap
Sith, I think, is
animation.
coming, right? Isn't that?
I think so.
Yeah.
Tales of the Sith is coming. I just saw a little, not recently, but a while ago.
Didn't they do Tales of the Sith last year?
No, that was Tales of the Empire.
Oh, Tales of the
Tales of
Empire.
the
Oh,
Empire.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I saw it maybe,
I
because
didn't
there's so
enjoy
much
that one that
fake
much.
stuff going on too. Everybody posts these memes and they make these little
Oh.
movie trailers, and I never know
Yeah.
what the hell is real anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool, and then I'm waiting here like 6
Well,
months,
Disney
starting a
does do that.
skeleton going, what?
Disney does do that. They send out these fake memes and stuff like that. These fake things,
Well, other
so
people
that
send it out too. It's like, they make
because
these fake trailers. I mean, they're really good.
Mhm.
I don't even know where
So
they're getting this
basically, to
technology from. But
turn it back to the subject of
Man.
the video, Disney is putting out what they think we want, but not what we need.
need.
Yeah.
There you go.
Right?
Exactly.
Oh, hey, Solo
Exactly,
Sabers is on.
Really?
Hey, what's up?
Dude, welcome, Jeremy. All right, Jeremy's in the house.
A lot of fun.
Oh man, have y'all been watching Jeremy's stuff lately? Dude, his
Yeah, Solo
his
Sabers
stuff
is
is just,
amazing. I saw
oh
it.
my god, man, just unbelievable stuff, man. I can't get enough of his builds. Dude, they are just freaking awesome, dude. And uh, going back, and I think a lot of Jeremy stuff, dude. There's a lot of needs and wants with a lot of the stuff that he produces. I think he gets a lot of um feedback too with the stuff that he does, and
Oh, absolutely.
a lot of the stuff that he produces comes from that feedback as well, man. As a matter of fact, and had asked me about some blade plugs, and I gave him some feedback, and they look great, man. Just a few things to tweak on those, and I think they'll come out golden, dude. And
Nice.
I really enjoy the aspects of seeing and enjoy a lot of the creativity that comes out. And
Me too.
when John reviews these sabers and stuff, it's just, oh, dude, I can't get enough of that stuff. So,
Yeah, it's
John,
fun.
again, thank
It's
you
great to
so
talk
much
about
for
it.
review. Yeah, and I think John really does justice to a lot of the reviews that he does, and I've seen. I don't know if you guys watch a lot of reviews, but I watch quite a few reviews, and I see it's kind of easy to get attached to certain things, but at the same time, it's like I see the difference between people kind of gravitating to certain companies because of this and that, and then I see the others who actually keep it real. And like John, yeah, he gets these sabers, but John keeps it pretty real. I mean, he just there's no holding back. And I think you have to be honest in your reviews. When you're actually giving something,
Oh,
and
yeah.
if you're not giving actual feedback, actual reviews, because oh, I got this here for free, but at the end, if a company's going to tell you, hey, do me right because I'm giving you this for free, but at the same time, you're not doing justice to anybody else because they're going to say, oh, this is great, and when they get it and something happens, they're like, but this dude said this, and this dude said like it was great and everything, and then da da da, and they get disappointed within the experience. So then,
Yeah.
why are they going to stay in the hobby if they get a bad experience?
Yeah. See,
So,
honestly, like for me, it's the majority of everything that I get. I mean, you got to realize that the internals, they're all the same. You know what I mean? It
hmm
really comes down and like how if I like this Xeno, I'm gonna like that Xeno. If I like that one, I'm gonna like, you know what I mean? The only thing that really
Yeah.
changes sometimes is the audio quality that comes out. Sometimes they're more muffled. I mentioned that, like this one's a little bit louder, this one's a little bit more muffled. The
hmm
internals for me, they're irrelevant. It's Xeno's a Xeno, SN is an SN, Profi's a Profi, you know.
hmm
It comes down to the designs, and I've gotten designs that have literally fallen apart on video. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
And I've told the companies that I've worked with that it is what it is. Whatever happens. You're not going to see these videos before I put it up. If I don't like something, I'm going to mention it. The majority of stuff I do like. I mean, honestly, I do like. I mean, it's hard to
Yeah.
not like a lightsaber. You know what I mean? But I've gotten in it
Right.
with a couple of companies about one or two of my reviews that this stupid thing fell apart, and they've
Mhm.
sent a second copy out. And I was like, well, I'm going to make another one. And it was just as bad as the first one. It's like, I was like, I don't know what you want me to do here. I mean, like, I'm either going to leave these videos up and, it is what it is, or you pull it off your damn website until it's fixed and I'll pull the video down.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
It's fair is fair. I'm not going to. Okay, perfect example. I just got in, well, not just, I actually sent it back. The brand new TXQ Cal Kestis crossguard that's all burnt up and, it's fried and
Yeah.
everything. I sent it back to Vader Sabers. I'm like, I could review it like this, you know what I mean? Or I can send it back. You can either try to fix it or there was a problem. The crossguards, they were just flapping in the wind. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm not reviewing this because if I review this, I'm going to rip it apart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's either it's going to be fixed and TXQ is going to address the problem, or you'll fix it, or whatever that happens to be. But I will be damned if I'm going to get on a video and just lie about a product so I can make a couple of percentage of a commission, if and when something even sells. I'm not making a living on YouTube.
Off of that. Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's like it's like here, like I mean, I think you could see this.
Yep.
Hold on a second. So look.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It was just flapping in the wind. Look at that.
Flapping in the breeze. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not reviewing this, unless it's fixed. And like TXQ said, well, I just tighten the screws. I'm like, well, that doesn't work because now it's closed and really, really tight. And the second I start pulling it out, guess what's loosening up? The screws. You know what I mean? Like, and there's another I have the 89 Sabers version somewhere. I don't even remember where the hell I put it. I don't remember if it's the Xeno or the 89. Oh, the 89. This has a ratchet. Can you hear it?
Yeah, I can hear it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it locks into place. I mean, it's not a strong ratchet, but it's like it opens and it's like there, and then closes. So some of the other versions, it's just kind of it's tension. And eventually those little screws they're gonna loosen up.
That's right.
So it's like and then another thing, like it came like one of the fins were completely loose. I had to figure out how to get in there. I actually had to make a double length because I didn't have one. I actually took the Allen wrench, taped it to a screwdriver, and had to get in there all the way in there because the stupid thing is like, right.
Yeah.
So I had to get in there and I had to fix that stuff, and everything myself. And I'm like, you know what? There's too many flaws in either this copy, or the whole thing. There's a problem. And, so Vader Sabers is great to work with. I love working with Russell because I can get him on the phone.
Right.
We can have a video chat. And he confirmed the same problem with a version that he had. He had 2 copies himself. So I'm like, well, there's either a flaw in the design or something's not right. So I sent it back. I didn't review it. And if I get another one in, I'll review it if it functions.
Yeah, right.
I try to keep it real. Some people don't think so. You know what I
Well,
mean? But it's like,
I believe you do. It is what it is. And I believe you do keep it real because, like I said, I've seen a lot of these videos and I can pretty much tell almost pretty closely on who's really biased about something and who really isn't. Gosh, I forgot the name of the gentleman that was in the Netherlands. He used to be a reviewer as well. And he was really big on Ultra Sabers. But yeah, he would rip them a new asshole if they fucked up. I mean, he would just literally rip them a new one if there was something wrong with their hilts and things that they sent it. And whatever hilt he got,
and you should,
he reviewed.
and you should,
And you should,
and like even if I was to say something bad about a product, I'm not technically talking about the company that sent it to me. The company that sent it to me, whether Art Sabers, Vader Sabers, CC Sabers, whatever, they're resellers. They're just
Mhm.
selling a
Yeah.
product. Most of the time, it's drop ships. Some of them, like Vader
Yep.
Sabers, does have a small stock in. CC Sabers
Mhm.
does keep some stock in. I'm not talking bad about a company. I'm talking about the manufacturing. Hey, shit, you can get
Yeah.
a car, and there could be something wrong with the car. The car is recalled.
Exactly.
bet.
That
It could
had
be a
nothing to do
lemon.
with the
You bet.
dealer
It
I
could be
bought
a
it
lemon.
from.
You bet.
And
That's right.
Jeremy mentions quality, right? And
Yeah.
I see who puts a lot of love and heart and soul in their builds. And
Mhm.
James is one. Jeremy has put a lot of quality and care and love in the builds that he does. Um, and for font makers as well, because there is a underrated need for the love that goes into making fonts, into making sabers, into making every aspect of your saber that you want to acquire. Uh,
Mhm.
and the quality of the saber comes with, the person who makes it, whether the manufacturer or the one individual that does it from hand, from scratch, right? Whether it be any part of the saber that's by hand, whether you buy the parts and put the parts together, it doesn't matter. The necessity of the need of love in the build, in the hobby, in the all around stuff that goes into it, I believe is a necessity for everything to come out great, right?
Oh,
And
absolutely.
when you have the love, the respect, the quality, the all around needs or wants that you bring into your builds or your hilt that people want and need, you come out with an awesome product, right?
Absolutely.
You come out with an awesome product. It doesn't matter what it really is, what part of the build, what part of this or what part of that. The basic need of good stuff brings the love and respect of other people because you put your heart and soul into those builds. You put your heart and soul into showing off those hilts. You put your heart
Yep.
and soul into everything that comes with these things. The love of the hobby itself carries everything on top of that, right?
Yeah.
So the love I think is also a need. You need to have that love and respect in order to go far with your builds, with your hobbies, with your collection. If it's not there, if the passion, the love, none of that, if none of that is there, pick something else because you're not gonna find that. No matter how much you want or need something, if you don't have that passion, that love for it, you're not gonna find it in anything else because that it's gone. So you might as well move on to something else, right? But when
Oh,
you have
choices.
that
You always have
passion,
choices, though. You
yeah,
always have
there's always
choices.
choices
You don't have to go full extent of the, full out. You can go minor until you reach that point where you're ready
and
to
build up
go.
to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you can go stepping by the ladders. You know what I mean? There's no reason why you have to jump in and go full bore. You know, I mean, your
right.
needs and wants can change at any given time. You have the power to control whatever you
I
want to
believe
do,
that.
whatever you want to buy, whatever you want. There's so many sources and so many resources, so many people that you can feel comfortable with, that you can get it, without an issue. So I don't think there's ever really a worry, in this community that you can't get what you need and what you want. I think a lot of people in this
Right.
community will be able to do that, you know, which is great.
Yeah, and that's why I'm glad that
That's
we
what we
have
need.
a lot of people. Yeah, we need people like Jesse Kyberphonic. We need people like
Yeah.
you, James. We need people like
Solo, everybody, man.
so
Jay
everybody. And
DeLorean,
I
all those
mean,
guys, man. Absolutely. I love his stuff, you
everyone,
know.
and John too. We need people like John to keep it real
Yes.
for us because You know, without people like John, yeah, it's hard to say because without people like John and who keep it real and want to have a biased opinion about something, you buy these sabers and you really get let down. Like you go to Disney and you buy that, you know, you buy that saber, but you have that experience. So the
Yeah,
experience is awesome, right?
yeah,
But then you
right.
turn on the saber and you have that delayed swing.
Yeah.
You're like,
I think
you
they
know,
just
and
went for the experience on that. You know what I mean? I don't think they really
they
gave a
did.
crap about the saber and how that all worked and
No,
put it in the drawer. I think they just wanted you to feel what it was like and or what it could be like and stuff like that. I think they had their
yeah,
I think they had the
Yeah,
plan
I
all
think the
worked out.
hardest thing, the hardest thing I think to convey in video in an honest way is blades. Blades are very hard. You know, I've
Yeah.
tried exposing for the blade, and then people are like, "Oh, the blade's too dark." You know, then
Mm,
I've, you know, now I just expose normally. Just I expose my room, and then the blade's really bright. You know, like, "Oh, is it that bright in person?" I'm like, see, if someone doesn't understand how a camera works,
mm,
it's very hard to explain to them that what you're going to see in person is not what you're going to see on video. You know, I
mm,
can make a Hasbro look exactly the same way as a NeoPixel blade on
mm,
camera. You know what I mean? And then when you see like multiple blades in person, you know, because this is actually something that I've gotten on the channel before. Oh, I bought the thing that you told me to buy, and I was very disappointed because it's not very bright. It doesn't have
mm.
that white core like on your videos. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
it also doesn't have the power of the sun behind it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, what do you
yeah,
expect? You know,
Yeah.
what do you
Right.
expect from that? You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
a camera can expose for one exposure at a time. So whatever
Yeah.
you're exposing for is what it's going to see. You know, so I
That's
was
right.
like, well, did you take a picture of your blade? And they were like, well, it dims down. I'm like, because that's your phone is on auto. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you just set things to automatic, I mean, like I have the like this is a freaking Hasbro, you know what I mean? And like on video, I don't know, it
Right.
might expose it, you know, see that's getting
Yeah.
dimmed
It's
down,
it's
yeah.
very
It's
you
light.
getting
know,
good now.
because and then watch, I turn that off, and then my camera slightly re-exposes,
Slight saber is exposed.
you
Sure.
know, and
Yeah.
Hmm.
then
That's
take
right.
up more of the frame, and then look how dark it gets.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
Yep.
Like that's
Yep.
just what cameras do. And it's like
Yeah. It's
I can't stand
it's
when people are
preventing
like,
it's preventing catastrophic failure is what it's doing because if you
yeah,
really brighten the lens, you can actually blind it. I think you can
yeah.
destroy the lens or
But
destroy
that
something of
also comes down to like the civilized sabers blades. You know, like people are like, "Oh, I spent $500 on this blade, and it's not nearly as bright as what it looks like on your show." I'm like, that's just the way it is. You know, I can
that's the way
line
the
up a
cameras
civilized
work.
sabers blade with you know, I have the quad star, tri-star.
Yep.
I've got the quantum blade. I've got the KR blades. I've got standard blades. I've got 7/8 blades, which technically look brighter. I'm like, you can
Mm,
line them all up in person, and your eye is going to have a little difficulty telling what is what because only a meter is going to be able to physically tell you, oh, that is so and so amount of lux brighter. And people are like, well, what the hell is a lux? I'm like, a lux
mhm,
is how much light a candle puts out at a meter away. You know, so it's like
mhm.
this is going to be 13,000 lux, which is like the equivalent of 13,000 candles. You know what I mean? But
Right.
your eye truly
mhm,
can't tell the difference between 13,000 candles and 10,000 candles. It
yeah,
just can't. It's so similar. You know what I mean? It's like a 50-watt light bulb looks very similar to a 60-watt light bulb. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
right.
also, it'll change with the battery power you have and how many amps you're pushing it with. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So it's like when people come to me, oh, I feel like you lied to me on video. I'm like, that's what cameras do, and I have no idea what else to tell you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's
I've
true.
done
Yeah.
tests, and I can show you the metering that this is brighter than that. And then we have those new blades that are out with 684 LEDs in them. And it's like, no, they're like,
Yeah,
well, how bright is that? I'm like, well, it's as bright as anything else you're going to see. I can line them all up and you're not going to be able to tell the difference between any one of them, maybe.
Yeah.
You know what I
right.
mean? Unless you're
It is
physically
right. That's
metering them, you
Mhm.
yeah.
know?
It
Unless
is
you're
right.
It's
metering it.
It
tough.
was Rebel Chumps. It was Rebel Chumps who was doing the reviews. Yeah, it was Rebel Chumps. But you know, John, you're absolutely right. And we need videos like that because for people to see what's on video, as opposed to what they see in real life. They've got to understand that. They need to
It's
understand that.
hard. Yeah. Some
Yeah,
people just don't.
yeah,
Because they're like,
they,
what's the best blade to get? What's the brightest one to get? I want something that's like, that has that white core. I'm like, you're not going to
Mm,
get it. Well, on your videos, you get it. I'm like, because it's a camera, man. You know what I
yeah,
mean? That's what
yeah,
happens.
yeah,
yeah,
It's how you set things. I mean, there's literally nothing else I can tell people. I'm not lying
yeah,
to you. That's how cameras work.
yeah. I
And
don't even
then
know. Yeah, like
I expose correctly for the blade, and everybody's like, "Oh, that's such a crappy blade." I'm like, "That's the same blade you were just looking at."
here's my here's my force effects Kylo that everybody doesn't like. No, I'm kidding. But you see what I mean? Camera.
Oh, there you go. So you got that nice white image, and then it's like you change
yeah,
the
See, that's
exposure of
like
the
it's just,
camera.
but the exposure of the camera is all about this. It's not about whatever's in behind. So you could get a
Right.
little brighter system, but bring it
Hmm.
closer to the camera. See,
Yeah.
and then it starts to
There you
go.
go.
But
And then you
Mhm.
black out in the background.
right, or I'm turning red right now because it's bright enough. But to be
Right.
honest with you,
And
in real life, this blade is not that bright. It's
right.
very dim,
yeah,
but the camera
Yeah.
fools you.
Exactly. And it's like it's insane. Again, just like the same thing with I can turn off my main light here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and
hmm
it's
And it's
still the
just going to
same.
re-expose for that.
It
I
still
move it
treats
back
that
there.
lightsaber the same. Yeah,
Exactly. Then I move it
yeah,
up close, and
yeah.
it's
It protects the
re-exposing for the
lens.
blade. You
Yep,
know.
yep. So it's all about
hmm
exposure and how you set up your cameras to get that exact luminance that you want for
Yeah.
like your films and stuff like that. So that's another
It's
need and a
crazy.
want.
hmm
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that comes down to like when everybody's like, "What blade do I really want?" I'm
Yeah.
like, "You're probably going to be fine with the standard blade that comes with it." You know what I mean? I mean, like, again,
hmm
that's a stupid Hasbro thing. I can get my regular camera and expose it to
Right.
exactly the same of what like a quad star is going to look like, or what those
Yeah.
ultrabright LGT blades now look like. Stuff like that. And like,
hmm
how do you? It's
I
like,
think
how do you
I think
convey
it's
to
mostly
people?
the shadowing though. I think it's mostly they want to
Well,
do these
yes,
big
well,
blades for the shadowing, so you don't see all
right,
those black lines through
right.
everything, and
But
everything looks
then
uniform.
it
You know.
comes down to how do you need and want. How do you
Right.
justify to somebody, well, you
Hmm.
need 6 rows of LEDs, you need
Right.
4 sides of LED,
Right.
or are you fine with the 2 that you have? Is it bright enough for you?
Right. Right. But it
You
would
know what I
be
mean?
it would have to be determined in the explanation of how the blade is designed and how it's built and what the purpose of that is.
Yeah.
Like a 2-strip blade, yeah, you're going to see a shadow like this one. But a 4-strip
Yep.
blade or 5-strip blade is going to be
Yep.
almost no shadow and
Yeah.
all
I
beautiful.
even
Well,
I
this
even
is a
broke it down
two-strip
to the
blade.
point where
Yeah.
I had
I got a quad blade
let me
too, and
see
the
where it
thing is
is.
bright as hell. I mean, it really is
Yeah.
bright. It's the brightest thing that I have in my whole shop. So it's like, but but like I
Even
said,
when I did
needs and
I did a
wants.
video, for I think a comparison. I don't remember
Mm,
what the hell it was of the Quad Star, and he gave me the actual core of the Quad Star. That way, I can
yeah,
actually show people what the hell is
hmm
inside. And
sure.
then I did also a quick review or brightness test of those new 640 LED things, and I showed a screenshot of what it looks like, and it's not like his is 3D printed on a core thing here.
Yeah,
And like
hmm
the
sure.
new ones are the single strips, but it's an LED out, an LED side. Like
Sides. That's what I have.
yeah. So it's like it's just a different strip, and it's like
Yeah, it's a
how
totally
many of these
different
little
strip.
things. But it's like the
Yeah,
same thing with well, like say like a camera. A camera
yeah.
can have 16 megapixels, 24 megapixels. At some
But
point, it
Jim
comes
said
down to
something here too. It's the quality. Like he just said, it's the quality of the blades and the process that it takes to make those
yeah,
things. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
well,
yeah,
sometimes you get what you pay for, but like I said, if the quality is there and you trust the person who's building it
yeah,
and you know how it's going to be when you get it, I think that's beautiful.
absolutely.
Wonderful.
Yeah, when I rebuilt this blade, I went and asked Anthony. I said, "Hey, man, what do you think?" Because the last blade that I had, I used the the shrink wrap, right?
Hmm.
From and of course it's the shrink wrap and the foam and nothing else aside from the blade itself, the tubing. And so I thought to myself, well, I had seen other diffusion things, so let me try. I want to try the nylon tube, right?
Mm.
I said I'm gonna
Oh
try
yeah,
the nylon tube
right,
without
with the foam.
with the
Oh,
yeah.
without the
So
foam.
without well, no, not without the foam, but
Yeah, you
with the
probably wouldn't
foam,
make it without.
without the shrink wrap, wait, without the shrink
Oh
wrap
yeah.
on there, but with the shrink tubing. So I did it with the shrink tubing, the foam,
Hmm.
and the nylon tubing. And I asked Anthony, I said, hey, do you see corn cobbing and stuff like that within that? And he said, nah, man, go for it. Work on it and see what you get. And so when you saw I turned on the blade, that you didn't see any corn cobbing when I got it close and everything else.
No,
So it
no, not.
worked really well. So I think from now on I'll be doing my blades that way, right? And from now on I'll be working on my blades that way without the shrink wrap, unless I'm doing just a no sound saber type,
I also got the
and do it
TriStar
that
card
way.
too. I got the TriStar from Civilized. I put it together. It's wonderful. It's great. I mean, when it first came out, it was like it was a big thing. And it's awesome, and it works. It's just a matter of design and quality. You're gonna get it.
Hmm.
You're definitely gonna get it with Civilized. I'll tell you that. I've seen them up close, and I know what they are. They're wonderful. And it's also the heart that goes into this thing too. It's not just the product. It's the people.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
what I also like about that too is that
Can't forget about
you
the
know
people.
yeah, if you have a problem with something like that, you can
Right.
contact them. Like there's a
You
person there to
bet.
contact. You know what I mean? And they're like made to order. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
the other ones
It's a
I'm
personal endeavor when you buy
yeah,
those blades. I'll tell you,
right.
it
But it
And
comes
really
Reese
down
is.
makes
to
some
again,
amazing
it's a
blades.
want and a
Yeah,
need thing. I mean, like it comes down to yeah, you might want it, but do you need it? Does your wallet afford it? Yeah, it's a novelty thing, but everything is a
yeah,
novelty thing. You know what I mean? The
sure,
more
sure.
pixels you have in it, the less your battery is going to work. It's like, do you
Yeah,
want more battery power? Do you want less battery power? What do you need? What do you want? What can
that's
you
right.
afford? And what even matters to you? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
Yeah,
In the end.
yeah,
these are
exactly.
good
In the
questions.
end,
That's
what
an
matters
excellent
to you?
question. Excellent
Yeah.
questions. That's what everybody should write down before they go out shopping because it's a real big deal. This
Right.
is, it's almost like going and buying
especially
a car.
especially
Yeah.
right now, I'm actually noticing that a lot more. Like I used to be a lot more free with money
Mm,
because I used to make a lot more money. But in recent months, in the past like year or so, my income's going down and down and down. Like the industry that I'm in is very much changing. And then now look at the economy we're in. Like a lot of us are struggling.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
I couldn't for
Hmm.
myself, as much as I would want, let's say a Pentastar or even whatever, or any of these things, I myself could not justify buying them. I've actually
mhm,
canceled
Hmm.
a whole lot of figures because I knew when those come around, I'm not going to be able to afford to pay for them. I
mhm.
want them.
Right.
Yeah,
I don't need them.
need them. Right,
You know what I mean?
right.
What I need to do
Hmm.
is to feed my family and make sure my dogs are alive and my wife is fed. You know what I mean? And my child eats. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? That's what
Absolutely.
I need
Absolutely.
to do. I need to
yeah.
do that. I
Yeah.
want these.
Mhm. Yeah,
See,
sure.
that's that is the heart and soul of tonight's topic right there.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Exactly. I mean, see, because that fuels the passion. You need
yeah,
necessities for your family. You want these things,
yeah,
as a hobby. But to an installer, it is a need of the love of passion for the hobby, a
yeah,
need to satisfy the customer's wants and needs, the need to produce good product, right? And so that satisfies the installer part of it. Now, the collector's part of it, I want I want that. Whether I need
mhm,
it or not is a different story.
Right.
So, and again, like John says, can you afford it? Or if you can't afford it, save up for it, and
Yeah.
money
I
aside for that particular thing that you
yeah.
want.
Like I
Yeah.
started this channel to have the ability. You know what? And the channel, it could have flopped. I didn't expect this channel to do anything. I did this for the hell of it. You know what I mean? But my goal was to try to make enough money a month that I could afford one figure. You know what I mean? That was the
Uh-huh.
goal. Like if I could just work for it, just keep producing stuff and figure out how to do this, that I could afford
Right.
to buy something. That would have been my goal because I can't afford it. You know what I mean? I can't
Hmm.
afford any of this crap. You know what I mean? But it's like I found a way. But
Hmm.
making these videos, it's a lot of work. It's a
Yeah.
tremendous
Yeah.
amount of work. I
Yes, it
could
is.
easily burn a simple video 3 to 5 hours. On something when I'm doing an intro filming and editing the intro could take me 2 hours.
Sure.
Depending on what I'm looking for, it could take me 4 hours if I'm looking for audio clips and different video game clips and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll get the stuff for free, but you know what? I'm working my ass off to get that thing for free. So I'm kind of
That's
paying
right.
Yeah.
for it. You know what
That's
I
Yeah.
mean?
right.
You're paying for it
Yep.
in a different way. Now,
Right.
see, I tell you, when I started doing the saber talk, I'm not making anything of doing saber talk because to me, my passion is what we're doing right now. We're sitting at
None
a
of us are
table,
Right.
making
we're
money
having a
right now.
drink,
We're all here
you know,
because we're
yeah.
just enjoying this conversation.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of this. We're enjoying the conversation, and for me, I want to help Anthony because he's so busy with a lot of other things, right? The comic book, this channel, doing karate for kids, and a regular job on top of that, on top of a few other things. So he is like super busy. And another thing, I wanted to do justice, and I hope I'm doing what I've set out to do, is to have great conversations like this about the love and the passion for sabers, but to bring justice to Harris, which was one of the original three amigos that started, Saber Talk. And when he passed away, I told Anthony, man, I hope I do bring justice without the rant part of it, that Harris would do, because I want to be able to have people come and talk to us and have a good time doing it. My ultimate goal for this is to have a great time coming and having a great conversation within this hobby, right? It doesn't matter whether you're a beginner, whether you're intermediate, whether you're a pro, it doesn't matter. Everybody has something to offer to the table. Whether
You
you're an
bet.
installer, whether
Very
you're a
important.
font maker, whether you're just getting started in this hobby and you don't know where to go, what to do, what to say, it doesn't matter. Whether you made your own things, whether you bought things, okay? It doesn't matter. The whole point of it is let's talk about it. Let's talk about it and
Yeah.
have fun doing it. We get enough problems out in the world. Out there, we have to live with all that shit that goes on outside. But in here, I want people to come in and laugh. I want people to talk
Oh
about the
yeah.
Sabres. I want people to have a good time. Like, ooh, show me what you got. Ooh, show this, show that. I mean, come on. Let's fuel the passion for the Sabres.
Oh,
Let's
you
fuel the
betcha.
passion for collecting. Let's fuel the passion for those fonts, the souls, the boards, everything that goes along with this. And again, I really hope that I'm doing justice to Anthony and even Gabe. Gabe is, test all the blades and everything like that. But again, he was one of the three amigos that started Saber Talk, and I wanted to carry the torch. And if Anthony shows up or Gabe shows up, and or even both of them show up. To me, it doesn't matter who shows up. We're gonna have a good time. It doesn't matter who shows up, and
Oh yeah. We always
it's
do.
all good and fun. And I want to do the show as long as I can, as physically and if there's a way for me to keep doing this show. Now, I want to do any shows where I record them? No. I need to do live shows for the simple fact is that you can't edit live. Okay? You
Right.
cannot edit live. And
Nope.
I feel very strongly that even when you see, the technical difficulties, you see me and everybody raw. You see what goes on behind the scenes raw. There's no editing, there's no this, there's no that. But at the same time, you know, it is what it is. And I love that aspect of it. Yeah, I could record videos. I could I could have videos out every week or whatever have you will. But I really don't want to do that. I don't have time for that. I don't want to make the time for that because I want to have time to enjoy my family. I want to have time to enjoy my ranch. I want to have time to enjoy my drinking. I want to have I want to have time to enjoy all aspects of life. You right?
Mm.
And this, my friends, is the escape that we all need for that short a
Oh,
period of
definitely.
time.
Definitely,
Right?
man. This is a great show. It's one of the best ones I've been on. I mean, I think it explains everything in true form, and it's real.
I
We
think
want to talk
so.
about real things, We want to get people excited too. It's not all about the bad things. It's also the good things. Don't ever think that, it's not all about the bad things and what other people do. I think a lot of people are really doing great things out there, building great sabers, building, continuing
Right.
the fight. You know what I'm saying? That's really important. I mean, I haven't seen
Yeah.
anybody really slow down in the industry yet. I mean, as far as I know, they're still pumping them out of there and their own designs.
Yeah.
So to me, I think it's pretty
Exactly.
cool, and for the younger generation, I know I'm talking about us too, but still for the younger generation too, they want to have something as
Yeah.
well, and they don't want to have, they don't want to have junk, so they're putting out some good stuff,
And
and
I
they're
think the
working
new
hard too. They're
generation
working
that's
hard.
coming. Yeah, and I think the new generation that's coming up, they're gonna learn to appreciate things, when we're dead and gone. I mean, from the time that it really started, from the custom sabers that really started to the time where it is now.
Mm.
I know that when I first started, I couldn't get much of anything. And when I actually had money to start getting something to work on Roy Boy, all of the technology had changed.
Mm.
Your LED strips, your boards, everything. Smooth Swing came into play before I even started working on Roy Boy, and it's just amazing to see how much technology has changed within that time. From the
Mm.
time that if you go back, you're gonna want to see the transition of what it was back then and what versus the need to have your smooth swing now compared to what it was back then.
Mm.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So your needs
And
and wants
fast.
from back then to now, the transition is just unbelievable.
It's
Unbelievable.
pretty quick. It's pretty quick.
Yeah,
Technology and open source
it
is getting
actually.
way better now.
So yeah, with that note, man, let's call it a night, man. I'm sure everybody's gotta
I
get
apologize
up
for my
early.
yawning. It's late. I'm sorry. And like
No,
I
no,
said,
no. You're all good.
and like
You're
I
all
mentioned
good.
earlier, this weekend, yesterday was the start of Passover, and I'm just exhausted.
I
Yeah.
bet, man.
Oh yeah.
So with that, let's do some goodbyes here, but as well as make sure,
Sure.
guys, like and subscribe if you want to come and hang out with us and have a chit chat. If you do want to come on the show, hit me up, man. I'll send you a link and you can come on. Whether you're a novice, whether you're a pro, whether you're intermediate, doesn't matter. Um, I'm hoping, John, maybe one of these days I can get Vader Sabers on and some others, that you reviewed and get them on here and have a lot of fun and have some good conversations with them.
It's good to see you
Um,
again, John. Good to see
And
you,
hey,
Yeah,
man.
man.
hey, to anyone who's still on, I actually got 3 new lightsabers incoming. I've got Next is Luke Skywalker's Hero Hilt. I've got HL Sabers Syndralig and X-Tech's Luke V2.
Dude, that's sweet.
And,
Sweet.
yep, the V2 one I actually got from Darth Mells. He was selling a couple that he had, and I look forward to looking it out. It's going to come empty, but I'm hoping to get it installed by the year's end.
Cool. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. And make sure you like and subscribe to James at Mountain Sabers. Make sure you like and subscribe over there, John, the Collector's Outpost. And here at Civilized Sabers, make sure you like and subscribe too. As Anthony would say, force push that like button. You know,
Be sure to follow me on
also,
Instagram, all right?
Darth Barris, where can they find you at?
Son Skywalker on Instagram.
Cool. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook under Edmundo Cabrera III. Also, whatever you see here on Civilized Sabers, you can also check it out on the Mundo channel on Instagram at Mundo Cabrera 7007. All right. So there's a few videos over there that Civilized Sabers got kicked off on due to the algorithms and stuff like that. But you can catch them on my channel. Give them give a little like and love over there, man. But again, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. A lot of love and respect, Jeremy.
A lot of great
Blumamba,
people on there in the chat today, man. I just want to give a shout out to everybody. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you so much, and I really appreciate it. And everybody again who comes and hangs out with us, talks with us, much love and appreciation. Because without you guys, I wouldn't be doing this without you guys. And for me to be able to come on here and have a great conversation with some great gentlemen here and you guys as well, it makes the world go round for me and makes me keep wanting to do it, every Sunday. Now, I can't do it every Sunday, so I am going to make the announcement right now that next Sunday is Easter, so I will not have a show for Easter because I want to make sure that everybody enjoys their families and not worry about that. So I'll be able to do the May 4th show, and I am going to do the May 4th show where Anthony will be giving away a Pentastar blade.
Oh,
so
cool.
Keep
That's
an eye out on that. So there's some. I think I put a link
show
out.
at the same time.
Yeah, I'm going to do the show at the same time.
That's
well,
sick.
I signed up for it. So in the event that I win while on the stream, that would be so weird.
That'd be amazing, man. That'd be a lot of fun.
I'd love to have one, but I'm not going to enter the contest, man. So maybe one of these days I can build myself one. So we'll see about what happens. We'll see what happens. But good luck to all the winners. I think I did put out a link on there, guys. Darth Reese had put a link there, and I know I had put share a referral link on there as well. So hopefully everybody, some people who want to do it, click on that link and get into the contest. So until the contest, guys, it's great seeing y'all. Man, I'm gonna find my outro here in just a second. Right, force push that. Force push it.
Nerd
oh my
up.
God, it
Force
went
nerd up.
just like John, go to Mountain Sabers and look for James's font on
amazing.
the Back to the Future. It's amazing. I'm sorry I couldn't get it because I thought I had the SD card with me, but unfortunately I got.
So if you want to
it's called Gigawatt. I got the wrong SD. I picked up the wrong SD card, so it's like, oh crap! Because I also had Blue Mamba's what is it? The
Hell Cycle.
The Thai one. Yeah, the Hell Cycle. I had the Hell Cycle and the Scrap Tie on there, and oh my God, dude, those are amazing too. So again, I better get out of here before my wife hangs me, man.
All right.
Love and peace, guys. Love you all. Bye. Peace.